All right, good evening and welcome to our regular meeting, March 11th. I'd like to call on board member David Coates to open us up. Thank you. We have a lot of recognitions this evening, and we will begin tonight's meeting by honoring students and staff members who achieved state championship status in their fall sports seasons, including the Grimsley High football team and Northwest High golfer Leah Edwards. At this time, I'd like to ask Senior Athletic Director Lee Hebert and Athletic Director Angela Polk-Jones to come to the podium to share more about these teams. Welcome.
You can just stand right in the middle.
Just stay right there.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you, Ms. Hayes. Most athletes set out at the beginning of the season with hopes and dreams of earning a state championship title, but only a few are successful in realizing those hopes and dreams. Ms. Polk-Jones and I are excited to be here this evening to recognize the best of the best, not just in Guilford County, but among individuals and teams from across the state of North Carolina. It is always an honor to be able to recognize our student athletes who have excelled in their chosen sport. We have a lot to cover, so let's get started. First, we'd like to recognize Ms. Leah Edwards from Northwest Guilford High School. With a 2-round total score of 140, Leah captured the 4A individual state championship title in golf and is now a 2-time state champion. Leah plans to attend Western Kentucky University on a golf scholarship. She was coached by Ron Baer and is joined tonight by Northwest Principal Brian Muller and with the coach.
Next, we will recognize the Grimsley Whirly football team. The Whirlies ended the regular season as champion of the Metro 4A Conference with an undefeated record of 10-0. 10-0. Due to the impact of Hurricane Helene, especially in the Western North Carolina, the playoffs were delayed 1 week. The Whirlies entered as the number 1 seed in the West and made their way through the playoffs, earning a spot in the 4A state championship game at Kenan Stadium in Chapel Hill on December 20th, 2024. Paired against a tough Rollsville from the East, the Whirlies emerged victorious with a final score of 35-23. They finished with a perfect 16-0 record and are the 2024 4A football state champions. Let's meet the Whirlies. Please hold your applause until the end. I'm going to call your name if you would step forward. Alex Cooper, Braylon Hill, Tayshawn Shaw, Ty Shoemake, Jamari Smith, Jace Staten, Torrin Stroud, Guy Van, Tristan Warlaw. Now for our sophomores, Nasir Crawford, E.J. Davis, Ramir Harris Dupree, Chase Huell Mantle, Marquise Isley, Gavin Milton, Niall Mansanto, DJ Page, Cam Ruff, Jaden Taylor, Jaden Warlaw, Makai Yan, and Caden Zealous.
Next, the juniors are Kashi Barnes, Kyan Battle, Cassius Bostic, Faison Brandon, Kason Brown, Abram Bunnell, Patrick Carter, Caden Cato, Hudson Cooper, Nick Daniel, O'Brien Ford, Ahmed Hassan, DJ Howerton, Neil Johnson, Nick Kashubara, Mike Miller, Kyrie Milner, Tyler Purcell, Quentin Randleman, Drew Searles, Javion Stevens, and Michael Williams. And last but not least, we'll recognize the seniors on the team. Jalen Anthony, TJ Birch, who will be attending Winston-Salem State University, Bakari Kolbari, Bryce Davis, who will be attending Duke University and was named Outstanding Defensive Player of the state championship game, Ryan Debo, who will be attending Fayetteville State University, Joshua France, Jackson Henry, Fort Hielgo, Andre Hill, who will be attending Fayetteville State University, Josiah Hussey, Elijah Ingram, Makai Norwood, who will be attending Johnson C. Smith, Dylan Pruitt, Will Rainwater, Mitchell Summers, who will be attending Sacred Heart and was named Outstanding Offensive Player of the state championship game. Brock Weston, who plans to attend UNC Pembroke, and Chris Young. And then we have a lot of support staff to recognize. Ayumi Denton, Spencer Thomas, Addison Edwards, Grady Cochran, Clayton Nance, Michael Courts, Al Barnett, William Brown, Don Shore, Cam Brown, Isaac Cruz Garcia, Thomas Craver, Sadie West, Tommy Wentz, Felix Gray, Ed Hampton, and Sue Hampton. And lastly, but not least, the coaching staff, beginning with the assistant coaches, Joe Rigsby, Jesse Tripp, Will Brown, Jamie Cunningham, Toby Williams, Thad Rice, Lee Meekins, Clay Browning, Niall Harris, Derek Waden, and head coach Darrell Brown. The Whirlies are joined this evening by Principal Jed O'Donnell and Athletic Director Evan Fancourt. Congratulations to all our fall state champions.
You're gonna shake hands. You're gonna do a U-turn. Okay. Yeah, there you go. Lead the charge, Jed.
Thank you. So grateful for that superb representation of our district and our coaching staff and family and all the people that make that possible. We want to continue tonight's meeting by remembering 3 students who passed away earlier this school year. And although we celebrate their lives and the positive impact that they made on the Guilford County School family, our hearts are extended in grief to their loved ones. On behalf of the Board of Education, we'd like to extend our deepest condolences to the families, friends, and teachers of Joseph Camden Myrick and Joe Bostic.
I want to take a moment for us to remember Camden and some of the memories shared by his school family. They share that he was always a pleasant and enjoyable student, was friendly to others, You always saw him surrounded by friends on the playground, and in the classroom, Camden always did his best and was someone who enjoyed being challenged. And so we remember him tonight, and we know he is greatly missed by all those who loved him, including his Pleasant Garden family.
Joe Bostic was a student at Grimsley, and people knew him, have talked about him, and apparently he had a tremendous spirit. His time at Grimsley was brief, but Joe Bostic left a positive mark on his school. His warm smile and genuine kindness touched the lives of both his teachers and fellow students. Even in a short time with us, Joe's positive spirit made him an important member of the Grimsley family.
Although we were only privileged to know these students for a brief amount of time, in their own ways, they helped to create heartwarming memories that will be cherished forever. To honor these students, please join us in a moment of silence. Thank you. We're going to continue our meeting by recognizing our February Employee of the Month. Will Maya Curry please come to the podium? Keeping a classroom full of second graders engaged is no easy task. However, at Sumner Elementary, teacher Maya Curry strives to ensure that her scholars leave every day learning something new. Maya is in her third year of teaching at Guilford County Schools. In fact, she was named Rookie Teacher of the Year in 22-23, exemplifying dedication to her students and the teaching profession. This spirit does not go unnoticed at Sumner Elementary, as colleague and fellow educator Brian McLean nominated Curry for Employee of the Month for February. Maya Curry has consistently demonstrated excellence in her role as a second grade teacher, writes colleague Brian McLean. As the Rookie Teacher of the Year in 2022-2023, Maya quickly established herself as a dedicated, hardworking educator. She engages her students with innovative, interactive lessons, ensuring they thrive academically. Maya's positive attitude and strong work ethic are evident in everything she does, from her commitment to improving her classroom environment to her active involvement in the Student Government Association. She approaches every challenge with enthusiasm, maintains a supportive atmosphere for both students and colleagues, and her dedication and ability to foster a positive learning environment make her an invaluable asset to the school community. Maya received a $50 gift card courtesy of the Greensboro Jaycees in the month of February. Your photo will be displayed here at the district central offices, at Sumner Elementary, and in the Greensboro Jaycees offices. At this time, I'd like to ask School Board Member Chrissy Pratt to read aloud the certificate honoring Maya.
Good evening. Congratulations, Maya. Thank you. Your certificate says, Guilford County Board of Education Certificate of Recognition presented to Maya Curry, Sumner Elementary, for Employee of the Month, sponsored by the Greensboro Jaycees, and it's dated February 2025 and signed by our Superintendent, Dr. Whitney Oakley, and our Board Chair, Dina Hayes. So I'll bring this down to you.
Yeah, we'd love to hear from you.
Well, I'm just a small fraction of greatness that goes on at my school, and I just want to say thank you for the recognition. Thank you to my principal and all of my staff, and cheers to my kids because I wouldn't be here without them.
Great, thank you, Maya. And we would like to congratulate you as well, and any of your family, friends, or school representatives that are here with you. So just come on up. And now we will recognize our volunteer of the month for February. Would Mr. Arthur Goldston please come to the podium at this time? Mr. Goldston is a consistent and dependable volunteer who comes to Simpkins nearly every day to lend a helping hand and be a familiar face from the community to our scholars. What started out as a pilot program to get volunteers in our building to assist teachers with getting breaks, to eat, using the restroom, and having a few moments to themselves to relax or whatever they would like or need to do, turned into having volunteers such as Mr. Goldston show up and show out every day. Mr. Goldston volunteers for at least 2 hours each day, usually during the lunch block, and assists with cleaning tables, sweeping, talking, engaging with students, and making sure students and staff have what they need. Our students really appreciate having a dependable male figure around and know that they can count on seeing Mr. Goldston. We are thankful for his presence and his willingness to always go above and beyond what is asked of him, says LaQuisha Dancy, office support at Simpkins Elementary, who nominated Mr. Goldston. As a volunteer of the month for February, you were surprised with a $50 gift card courtesy of Toyota of Greensboro. And during the month of February, your photo will be on display here at the district central offices, Simpkins Elementary and Toyota of Greensboro. At this time, I'd like to call on board member Vice Chair Betty Jenkins to present Mr. Goldston with a certificate of recognition on behalf of the Board of Education.
Thank you so much, Mr. Goldston, for all you do. The certificate reads, Guilford County Board of Education Certificate of Recognition presented to Arthur Goldston, Simpkin Elementary School for Volunteer of the Month, February 2025. It is signed by Dr. Oakley, Superintendent, and Chairman Hayes, which is the board chair. And as you know, Guilford County School motto is better together. And you making it so much easier when you come in every day for 2 hours and also invited others to come in.
I want to thank the Guilford County Schools, volunteer community and engagement, and Ms. Danson of Simpson Elementary School, who recognized me for this award. I am truly honored to receive this award. This award is especially meaningful to me because of the work of the entire staff at Simpson Elementary School in preparing all of the students for the future that is our generation to come. I want to thank everybody for giving me the opportunity and providing me the opportunity with the opportunity to volunteer and to make a difference. I hope this award will inspire others to get involved and give back to the Guilford County School, their community, and the city of Greensboro. Thank you all.
Thank you, and we'd like to shake your hand, Mr. Goldston. Any of your family and friends that are here with you are school representatives. Is anybody here with you? Now we are on to our March Employee of the Month. Will Clark McVeigh please come to the podium? All right. Student safety. Student safety is one of the top priorities of Guilford County Schools. From burglar and fire alarm systems to the fobs that give employees access to buildings, there are many elements of technology that promote safe learning and working environments across the county. When that technology malfunctions, needs updating or repair, there is a team of technicians working behind the scenes. And one of those technicians is Clark McVeigh, a man that works hard behind the scenes to troubleshoot problems when they arise. Clark is one of our district's ghosts. Those staff members who work tirelessly each and every day but are unseen and unheard, wrote Melissa Nixon, Senior Executive Director of Federal and Special Programs. I often have to submit tickets for fobs to be activated or deactivated due to folks coming and going at Franklin Boulevard. Clark is the ghost behind the magic. He will often complete my request, not within days, not within hours, but within minutes of receiving the request. When I found out recently that the access for one of my new hires wasn't working well, I emailed Clark to troubleshoot. Clark called me within 10 minutes. Some may say that level of customer service isn't amazing until I tell you that it was his birthday, and he had taken the day off. I would argue that not only is it amazing, but unparalleled. With a true dedication to staff and students, Clark McVeigh earned his nomination for Employee of the Month. He was surprised with the news by entering a room full of cheering colleagues and a cake to honor his hard work. Clark received a $50 gift card courtesy of the Greensboro Jaycees, and during the month of March, your photo will be displayed here at the district central offices and in the Greensboro Jaycees office. And at this time, I'd like to ask Board Member Deborah Napper to read aloud the certificate honoring Clark McVeigh.
And I don't think there's a single person here who would argue that there's much more important than safety in our schools. So thank you for all of us for everything that you're doing. So your certificate reads, from the Guilford County Board of Education, Certificate of Recognition presented to Clark McVeigh in Emergency Management for Employee of the Month, sponsored by the Greensboro Jaycees in March of 2025. It's signed by our Superintendent, Dr. Whitney Oakley, and our Chairwoman, Dina Hayes.
Thank you, and after we hear from you, we'd also like to shake your hand and any of your colleagues or family or friends that are here with you.
Okay. You know, this is a great honor. There's a lot of people behind the scenes that nobody ever sees, you know, and I'm just one of them. And when I was totally surprised that day with the party, you know. About 10 years ago, I received a Lone Leaf Pine Award, and I thought that was a great thing. But this is pretty great too. So, but yeah, I want to thank Stephen Durham for nominating me, and Melissa and all the principals and everyone that said all the kind words. And I want to especially thank Kathleen. She puts up with a whole lot of stuff, especially at home, me doing stuff. So. Anyway, I want to ask her to come down, and Stephen Durham and all my group, Mike Ritchie, Brian, Wayne, everybody, come on. Because without them, it's nothing.
All right, and now we're going to recognize our volunteer of the month for March. Would Mrs. Linda Wilkes please come to the podium at this time? Mrs. Wilkes provides critical mentorship to at-risk young women beginning in elementary school and maintains those relationships through middle and high school to ensure a timely and successful graduation. She does her best to meet with her mentees at least once per month. Mrs. Wilkes covets and honors the role of a volunteer in a non-traditional yet extremely impactful manner. Her dedication to her role in student transcends far beyond the classroom and into the adult lives of our students. With every imaginable barrier against them, 100% of the students Mrs. Wilkes mentors are on track to graduate or has graduated. By starting a relationship in the formative elementary years, she sows seeds for success and expectations for excellence in all her students. Her work will not relent until every young woman she touches walks across the stage at her high school graduation, where she is sitting front row and cheering them on. Mrs. Wilkes makes it her duty to stay in contact and support each of her student mentees from elementary to high school graduation, no matter what school they may attend. She believes that every young woman, despite their adversities, will move mountains with the right love, support, and dedication, says Brittany Wells, social worker at Jamestown Middle, who nominated Mrs. Wilkes. As the Guilford County School Volunteer of the Month, Linda Wilkes was presented with a $50 gift card courtesy of Toyota of Greensboro. And during March, your photo will hang here at the district central offices, Toyota of Greensboro and Jamestown Middle. At this time, I'd like to call on School Board Member T. Diane Bellamy Small to present with Ms. Wilkes with a certificate of recognition on behalf of the board.
On behalf of the Guilford County Board of Education, certificate of recognition presented to Linda Wilkes, Jamestown Middle School for Volunteer of the Month, March 2025. And this is signed by our superintendent, Dr. Whitney Oakley, and our chair of the school board, Dina Hayes. So congratulations.
Mrs. Wilkes, we'd like to hear from you, and then we would also like to congratulate you personally and any of your school representatives or family or friends that are here with you.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here. I want to thank the school board for this award. I'm honored to be able to volunteer in the schools. I love helping the students. They always do their best, and I'm proud of all of them. Thank you to Ms. Wells and the principal for nominating me and for always welcoming me and making me feel so supportive and just very welcomed. And thank you very much.
And the recognitions continue. Next, we will honor our current Rookie Teacher of the Year, Mr. Alex Holmes, who is a finalist for the North Carolina Center for the Advancement of Teaching Burroughs Wellcome Fund Beginning Teacher of the Year Award. At this time, I'd like to ask members of the North Carolina Center for the Advancement of Teaching team who are here tonight to come forward. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Good evening, members of the Guilford County Schools Board of Education, Dr. Oakley. Would Alex Holmes please come forward at this time? Stand there in place of honor. On behalf of the North Carolina Center for the Advancement of Teaching, it is my privilege to announce that Alex Holmes has been selected as a finalist for the NCAT 2025 Burroughs Wellcome Fund North Carolina Beginning Teacher of the Year Award. This recognition highlights Mr. Holmes' exceptional contributions to the teaching profession and his remarkable impact on the students and community here in Guilford County. The Beginning Teacher of the Year Award was established to celebrate the creativity, resilience, and dedication of first-year teachers across North Carolina. Each year, more than 7,000 new educators enter classrooms statewide, and this award honors those who exemplify the best of the profession while addressing the unique challenges of beginning teachers. Alex Holmes will be attending a week of professional development with his fellow finalists in a couple of weeks. On March 27th, NCAT will celebrate all finalists at a recognition event on the campus of UNC Greensboro. At NCAT, we are committed to advancing teaching as an art and a profession, and we're thrilled to celebrate Mr. Holmes as a shining example of this mission. Please join me in congratulating Alex Holmes on this outstanding achievement. I would now like to invite Dr. Jen Redfern, NCAT STEM specialist and former Guilford County Schools employee, and Leah Carper, current Guilford County Schools employee and a member of the NCAT Foundation Board of Directors, to join Alex and celebrate him. Yay! Okay. Thank you. Thank you. In addition, on behalf of Empower, Tammy Azell would like to present Alex with a check for $250. This is a fake one for the pictures, but you'll get a real one in a minute. We'll trade with you. We thank Empower for supporting North Carolina educators in their retirement investment plans and their support of education. Thank you all for being here tonight to celebrate this outstanding educator. We appreciate Guilford County Schools for recognizing Alex Holmes and the NCAT Beginning Teacher of the Year program. And we hope to see lots of you at the event in a couple of weeks on the campus of UNCG. Thank you.
Thank you again, Alex. And finally tonight, we will honor our Southeast High agriculture teacher, Brooke Clapp, who was the finalist for the North Carolina Center for the Advancement of Teaching Boroughs Welcome Fund CTE Teacher of the Year Award. Brooke was one of 24 finalists for the CTE Career Technical and Education Teacher of the Year Award, which honors outstanding CTE educators who demonstrate excellence in their profession. Brooke is a Southeast High graduate and returned to her alma mater to teach animal science. She is also her school's FFA advisor. We are so grateful to Brooke and all of our CTE teachers who help prepare students for workplace through hands-on learning and real-life experiences. At this time, I'd like to ask School Board Member Linda Welborn to step down and present Brooke with a certificate of recognition.
Guilford County Board of Education Certificate of Recognition presented to Brooke Clapp, Southeast High, for the Boroughs Welcome Fund Career and Technical Education Teacher of the Year, sponsored by the North Carolina Center for Advancement of Teaching. And it is signed by our Superintendent, Whitney Oakley, and our Board Chair, Dina Hayes.
And if I may share, Brooke was able to spend the week with us in Cullowhee at our Cullowhee campus for a week of professional development and hanging out with her fellow finalists. And we were able to celebrate them on the 20th of February. And one of the cool things about these events, both CTE teachers and beginning teachers of the year, is it's honoring and really lifting up those individuals across the state. The more we can celebrate the incredible work that our teachers do every day, and particularly those who go above and beyond like Brooke, it really is, it's an opportunity and a blessing that we get to do that. So thank you for celebrating her tonight.
Thank you. And Brooke, we'd like to shake your hand as well. All right, well, what a wonderful way to start our meeting. We are now at our public comments, and just want to remind our speakers as you come to the podium, please give your name and address. You have 3 minutes to make your comments. When you have 15 seconds left, an amber light will come on, and when your time is up, the light will be red, and you may hear an alarm. We would like for you to wrap up your comments so that the next speaker can begin with their comments. We'd also like you to refrain from using any students or staff names. If there's a concern, we can have a staff member meet with you in the lobby. If there are people in the audience that support what's being said, we'd like for you to demonstrate that by doing this so that the speaker can continue uninterrupted and we can hear their full comments. Our first speaker is Deborah Johnson, followed by Jennifer Shaw. Welcome.
Good evening. My name is Dr. Deborah Johnson. I live at 5106 Woodbury Forest Road in Greensboro. I'm the parent of a fifth grade student at Allen J. Elementary. My son has special needs, has an IEP, and is currently being tested for autism. My concern is my son has been having significant issues at the school because of the principal. The principal repeatedly makes disparaging remarks to my son, has made threats, has pulled him from class unprompted, which is a form of bullying, and as a result, my son has lost valuable education time. On February 27th, I spoke with the special education director, who, after hearing my concerns, informed me that she would contact the principal as well as his EC teacher. The following day, my son came home and shared he didn't like what the what the principal said to him. He stated that even more disparaging remarks were made. In my son's IEP, it states that the strong criticism is to be avoided. The principal pulled him from 3 core classes, which caused him to miss 3 tests or quizzes, then gave him ISS on that very day. When I called the principal's supervisor's assistant on March 3rd regarding the ISS that my son was made to serve, the principal denied that my son was in ISS. However, he kept my son in his office for 2 hours for a matter in which my son was not responsible, and the principal confirmed it during a meeting on March 5th. The other student who was at fault was allowed to return to the classroom. However, my son was kept in his office for the remainder of the day. My son did not have any classwork completed. Instead, he was allowed to watch videos until the principal slammed his computer shut. Since I've advocated for my son, every single opportunity to pull my son from class is taken away by the principal. To date, my son has missed 6 tests or quizzes and valuable education time. He's had more than 15 hours out of the classroom. The principal has repeatedly taken his Chromebook from him, denying my son the ability to complete his homework. We've made numerous attempts to resolve this at the school, and it appears that multiple visits to the school tend to result in more frustration and less accommodation on the part of the principal. Again, he's a child with special needs. My son does not feel safe at the school, and this man is in a position where he continues to harass, bully, and retaliate against a powerless child, and I hope this matter is addressed because I'm certain my son isn't the only child having issues with the principal, nor am I the only parent with concerns about his leadership. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Johnson. Jennifer Shaw, followed by Kathy Kruska.
Good evening, Madam Chair, honorable members of the Guilford County School Board, our esteemed superintendent, and your excellent staff members. My name is Jennifer Shaw. My address is 7928 Bayfield Lane, Greensboro. I have lived and worked in Guilford County for more than 3 decades, and I have 2 adult children who are graduates of Guilford County schools. I know that you're experiencing a lot of pressures from national and state legislative bodies, but I want to begin by expressing my deep appreciation for your support of not only teaching history as it actually occurred, but of also recognizing the legacy of that history. It should not frighten us that our past contains events and actions that we regret, but to correct them, we must know them and face them. Recognizing the enormous, beautiful diversity of our county, state, and nation, working to include everyone and to be fair is the only moral thing to do. All faith traditions are very clear on this point. The things we regret in our history, however, are not all that is to be remembered of our history. Throughout slavery, Jim Crow, and lynchings, throughout deporting hardworking immigrants in internment camps, throughout firing government officials who keep our food and our medicine safe, who do critical medical research, who see to an effective highway system and safety in flight, and so much more that we take for granted. Throughout all of these things, there have been thinking, courageous people who resisted. They have always won in the end. If we don't teach the truth of all of our history, we also erase these courageous people. Both stories should and must be told. I and so many others support your work to ensure accurate history be told and taught. Please do not let fear of repressive forces keep you from addressing the needs of all children and teaching them our true history, good and bad. As always, thank you for your service to the community. May you continue to strive to enhance and improve the opportunities for all of the children in Guilford County. Thank you.
Thank you. Kathy Kruska, followed by Sophie Wilkerson. Welcome.
Good evening. I live in Zone 6. My two grandsons attend middle school and high school. My daughter is a TA for EC students at Grimsley High School. And my husband even volunteers as a baseball assistant coach at Grimsley. I would like to thank you for the opportunity to speak to you tonight. I will begin by thanking all of our elected members of the school board, as well as our employed members of the Guilford Department of Education. Thank you for creating and maintaining a learning environment where every student can be successful, regardless of their personal circumstances. In particular, I am grateful for this Board of Education and its leadership. You are providing meaningful outcomes by remaining true to the value of access. By access, I mean that your intentions serve three goals that are close to my family and my community's heart. That students are exposed to unbiased ideas, that students that students can obtain open resources for finding factual information, and that students are given challenges for learning and practicing truth with a capital T. These goals facilitate authentic learning. Yes, they foster critical thinking, but they also enable students to show kindness in words and actions towards others who are different from themselves. However, in today's climate of rapid changes and confusing directives, I can see how it might be easy to become distracted or even go off course. So then, I offer this encouragement tonight. Please keep doing what you have always done. Continue to do what is right for our children. Continue to do what is right for the educators and support staff of our children. Do what is right for the future of our community. In closing, please know that I appreciate your courage and your vision. I appreciate how building a culture where fairness, all-encompassing opportunities, and respect for the dignity of every individual are fundamental principles of our Guilford educational system. I appreciate that our students are acquiring skills and knowledge for success in academics and life. Like many of the people here tonight, I support you. Thank you for your work.
Thank you. Sophie Wilkerson, followed by Adam Duggins.
My name is Sophie Wilkerson. I live on 3401 Anita Glen Drive. and I attend Page High School. I like to address the issues with our building as of right now. We've had a lot of issues, and I'm not going to go off script. I'm going to talk through the students, not just by me, but as my student body as a whole. We've had many issues. Our AC has gone out a lot of times, and it's really hard, like having to open up our windows. The gym, hot. I almost passed out one day. It was really bad. Having leaky ceilings, having water everywhere. That's very dangerous for people who have, for example, like crutches or a scooter. That's extremely hazardous. I'd also like to stress, just the conditions as a building, and I'm very grateful for how Page has kept its, it's kept, but I wouldn't say it's up to par or safe for many of our students. I like to thank the PTA and the board, the Booster Club, for helping fund some of the things that we have in our school. But I think as our head of our county, GCS, help us out a little bit more. And I'm so grateful for my principal for doing what he can when we had that big outage with our AC and our heat, because some people may have problems and they might not, operate well when the conditions in the school aren't as well either. And as a student, and for my whole student body, I know that everybody struggles with the changes, upstairs so hot, downstairs freezing cold. The change isn't good, especially for some people who have, difficulty focusing. For me, if it's extremely hot, I can't focus, gotta pull my hair out of my face. I'm just gonna be realistic, and I'm not just gonna keep all this stuff and try to be poised. I'm coming at you guys with a realistic point of view. And I really want what's best for Page, and really, I want our rising classes to be oh yeah, this is my school. Yeah, I'm proud to be a Page Pirate. But right now, the school really isn't up to par. Our library is freezing cold, especially in the winter. When it was snowing, the warmest place to be was the bathroom, if I'm being honest. And I'm grateful for everything that you guys have done. I'm just saying that we could try to do a little bit more. And with our lunchroom space, it's very cramped, very tight. As I was saying, people who need ailments to help get around school, there's nowhere to, park your scooter per se, or your wheelchair. But I'm very grateful for what you guys have done. I just think we could do a little bit more and help out. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sophie. Adam Duggins, followed by Linda Bridges.
Good evening. First, I want to thank Dr. Oakley, Dr. Monk, Johnny Simmons, Commissioner Strauss, Commissioner Napper, for touring Page High School and discussing the challenges we face. Our goal throughout this process has been to foster a civil and collaborative approach, and Dr. Oakley and her team have been responsive to that, and on behalf of our community, I just want to say thank you. Over the past 2 months, we've received significant attention from people across the county who share their support and their own challenges. The 3 most common questions we receive are the following. First, is Page's facility really that bad? After touring the school with over 40 individuals, county commissioners, business leaders, concerned citizens, the unanimous response is that Page's facility is in urgent need of attention. The reactions are telling. At the start of a tour, everyone's talking, everyone's friendly. And by the end of the tour, it gets really quiet. It gets solemn. I think many of them are realizing just how deep the issues are, and many are reflecting how they've allowed and we've allowed this to get to this point. So that leads to the second question. What is Page's community asking for? We've come to terms with the fact that this generation of students won't see a new high school. We are simply asking for basic, non-negotiable standards, proper heating, cooling, safety. These aren't luxuries. They are essential for a safe, effective learning environment. We want dry, comfortable spaces where our students can learn, exercise, eat, use the bathroom. The current district standard for heating is that a school isn't closed until 50% of classrooms fall below 60 degrees. I challenge us to do better. In any other setting, no one would accept that bar. No one would ever accept that if they were adults. Our ask is to readdress these basic standards and bring not just Page, but all schools up to these standards. We know we aren't the only ones facing this. So then the inevitable last question is, why do you send your child to Page? Or a prospective parent, why should I send my child to Page? Simply put, Page is an incredible community. The academic achievements speak for themselves. 35 of our seniors were accepted into A&T at a 97% acceptance rate, 38 into NC State, 32 into Carolina. But beyond those stats, Page represents the cross-section of our community like no other high school in this area. My son benefits daily from classmates and teammates from all walks of life. Under Dr. Nagley's leadership, every student feels supported, loved, and empowered, regardless of background. It's truly inspiring. So our community is asking for a commitment to ensure that every student and every school has the basic tools, the basic facilities that they need to succeed. The heart of Page High School is not just in its history or impressive academic records, it's in the unwavering dedication of its students, teachers, staff, and families. But we cannot expect them to continue to thrive like they are in a physical environment that is failing them. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you. Linda Bridges, followed by Jack Kelly. Welcome.
Good evening. My name is Linda Bridges. I live at 2922 West Cornwallis Drive in Greensboro. Thank you for this opportunity to address the board this evening. My husband, Michael, was a school bus driver out of Smith High School for 20 years. He died unexpectedly last year on the morning of March 13th while on duty. Months ago, I raised an important school bus safety issue with GCS administration to no avail, so I ask for your help this evening. In January 2024, just 2 months before his death, my husband received his annual DOT medical exam and was certified to continue driving. As explained in my written comments to the board prior to this meeting, he should not have passed the medical exam at that time. Last November, I met with the Executive Director of Transportation and explained this to her and gave her quite a bit of background information. When we left the meeting, she was going to inquire with the actual medical examiner. Hearing nothing, I called her back in January and was told that I needed to speak directly to the examiner myself. The examiner is a contractor for an external third party to one of GCS's vendors. We've got several degrees of separation here. Soon after I was able to make contact, I received a letter from the company's attorney saying they would not release any information. In their last response, they state that I must obtain a court order. Why? The only thing I'm requesting is a copy of the medical certification paperwork that is required by federal regulation to be provided to drivers. I emailed this information to school administrators. My purpose here is not for any gain for myself. The school system's responsibility is to make sure all drivers are certified, and they do. However, the information I shared 4 months ago should have immediately raised red flags and resulted in an investigation by GCS as to which policies were circumvented and by whom. You're hearing that their vendors or vendors' contractors are not in compliance extends responsibility and liability to the school system. Until there is an investigation, nobody knows how many bus drivers are inappropriately passed on medical certification or whether these are intentional passes to keep buses on the road during an extended, highly publicized staffing shortage. I respectfully ask you to initiate an independent investigation for the safety of this community.
Thank you. So sorry for your loss. Jack Kelly, followed by Angela Hatcher. Welcome.
Hello, my name is Jack Kelly,
who live at 601 Hannah Mackenzie Drive. Thank you for letting me speak tonight about the conditions at Page. I'm not only a sophomore, but I am a student with a vision impairment. I thought the best way to describe what I experience at Page is to walk you through my schedule to show you the conditions. I start my day off by getting off the bus in the bus parking lot and walking towards the front of the building. While I'm walking there, I have to walk across a dirt path, which not only floods when it rains, but is becoming increasingly harder for me to navigate as I transition into cane usage. As I come into the front of the building, I experience poorly lit hallways and stairwells, which I am feeling more scared approaching tops of stairwells due to worn out ADA regulated red plating. As I enter my classrooms, they experience many issues, many to do with leaking HVAC equipment on the ceilings, and they break down often. Another one that I experience more that impacts me more than most people is a lack of proper window shading. This one affects me because it causes glare on my magnification devices, which impacts my learning ability. As I go to lunch, I can't navigate through the cafeteria due to crowding because we are trying to fit more people in the cafeteria than our cafeteria is rated for. As I go to my band classes after lunch, I also experience tight rooms, which are increasingly dangerous due to sharp edges and large instruments being moved around in small spaces. I'm also disappointed with the lack of effort going on in the school auditorium, and it makes our students feel sad that we have not been able to get performances and concerts in our own auditorium. I would like to thank Cone Elementary for providing their auditorium for us. And as a student with a vision impairment, I spend one of my class periods a day in the library with my vision instructor. I have to deal with no heating or AC and leaking ceilings, which disrupt my learning time and my abilities with Braille and technology in the future. Once again, I thank you for letting me speak on these issues, and go Pirates.
Thank you, Jack. Angela Hatcher, followed by Elizabeth Brookshire. Welcome. Hi.
Hi, I'm Angela Hatcher, and I live at 221 South Lindell in Greensboro. I am a parent of 2 students who go to Lindley Elementary. I am super thrilled with the rebuild that's going to happen, but I, like majority of the parents, are concerned about where our children are going to go to school next year. It's almost the end of the school year, and we know that they're going to have to move, and everyone's just trying to figure out where, because we all have to adjust our schedules. And mine's pretty short and sweet. That's our main concern. It's almost the end of the school year, and just where are our kids going to go? Thank you.
Thank you so much. Elizabeth Brookshire, followed by our final speaker, Sherelle Fuller.
Hello, I'm Elizabeth Brookshire. I know you all know my name from the mountains of emails and pleas for help. Before I get to the primary reason I'm here, I would like to educate everyone on a rare syndrome that my second son has called Phelan-McDermid syndrome. And our foundation has a spin on words called Phelan Lucky as to create awareness. And so I'm just gonna, if everyone wants to see like Phelan Lucky to create awareness of a chromosomal deletion or mutation of a gene called SHANK3. He has a deletion of multiple genes, but this particular syndrome involves SHANK3 that prevents him from having normal synaptic signaling in the brain and creates behavioral challenges and requires lifelong care. He is also autistic. Our family has felt anything but lucky since his diagnosis of Phelan-McDermid syndrome in 2020. Our family has felt devastated since October 11th 2024. When I received a phone call, and I am an emergency medicine PA, while I was at work in an ER, and was told that he passed out for, quote, a few minutes. He was transported to a local emergency department, and details surrounding his medical event were misrepresented to me. On October 15th, I went to the school and was shown a video that misrepresented this medical event where my son was actually unresponsive for what appeared to be 20 to 30 minutes. As you can imagine, any mother would be traumatized and start mountains of pleas for truth, for access to all information, and for help for her son, who to this day is still at home, still requiring outpatient workup, which at minimum won't be done for 6 more months, and now requires a pediatric cardiologist and neurologist. Fast forward to November 12th, my son's father and my husband finally was afforded an opportunity to watch the video. When I initially when I initially saw this video, I requested additional videos, and I was only afforded one. On that day, November 12th, there were 4 videos. We didn't even have time to get through all of them. Again, this event made it appear that my son was unresponsive for 20 to 30 minutes. Again, I sent mountains of pleas asking for help for my son, who's 16 and should be having his best life, and he's stuck at home. Is that my timer? So December 4th, fast forward, I was shown a video where my son was unresponsive for 13 minutes. Something was passed down to his head. I could briefly see his unresponsive face. His body was moved. And we still do not have access to the details, documents, and videos. And it is delaying appropriate outpatient care. And so tonight, as a mother who has emailed and pleaded with each and every one of you, please help my son and my family get better together and give us access to every document, detail, video of what happened so we can continue appropriate medical care and move forward together in health.
Thank you, Ms. Brookshire.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our final speaker is Sherelle Fuller.
Good evening. Board Chair, Superintendent, and entire board. My name is Dr. Sherelle Fuller. I am representing the High Point chapter of the NAACP as first vice president, and I live at 2926 Dexterity Court, High Point. Representation matters. When young Black students learn about the brilliance of leaders like Mary McLeod Bethune or Booker T. Washington, they realize that greatness is not reserved for a select few. It is within them. Imagine the power of a student stepping into a classroom and hearing, you too can lead, you too can innovate, you too can change the world. That message is transformational. It turns uncertainty into ambition and barriers into stepping stones. But Black history is not just for Black students, and women's history is not just for women. It is for all students. It's American history. Understanding this provides every student with a fuller, more accurate picture of our shared past. When students of all backgrounds learn about the resilience, innovation, and contributions of leaders, they gain a deeper understanding of justice, perseverance, and the power of community. This fosters empathy, it dismantles stereotypes, and equips future leaders to build a more inclusive society. An education that omits any history is incomplete, but one that embraces it empowers all students to see themselves as active participants in shaping the future. Representation goes beyond history, though. It's about the present and the future. Students need diverse educators, mentors, and role models who reflect their potential and who remind them that their dreams are not just possible, they are within reach. When students see successful individuals from their backgrounds excelling, they just don't believe those stories. They believe in themselves. This is why it is critical to ensure that all students have access to opportunities that shape their futures. An opportunity job fair for High Point school children is coming up, an incredible opportunity to inspire students and connect with local businesses. However, we've learned recently that only select students are being invited to attend. This is exactly the kind of barrier that limits the very students who could benefit the most. Representation matters not just in history books, but in real-world access to opportunity. But we can't do this alone. Education thrives through collaboration. Now more than ever, this collaboration is essential. That's why we must invest, advocate, and take action. Because when we invest in education, we invest in everything that follows. Thank you all for your time and your service.
Thank you, and that completes our public comment section of our meeting. We're now at approval of the agenda. Is there a motion?
Move the agenda.
Is there a second? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, we're now at the consent agenda. Dr. Oakley?
Good evening, Madam Chair and members of the board. This evening's consent agenda includes the following items: approval of February 25 meeting minutes, personnel action report, 24-25 budget amendments and transfers report, 2025 replacement bus financing agreement, contractual agreement with BECO Incorporated for the Southeast Guilford High School fire alarm system installation project, heating, ventilation, and air conditioning maintenance contracts, 24-25 buildings, public school building repair and renovation fund distribution request from the North Carolina Education Lottery. That concludes this evening's consent agenda for your consideration.
Madam Chair, I'd like to pull F and G.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve A through E?
Move to approve A through E.
Second. Second, all right. Diane?
Yes.
Chrissy?
Yes.
Linda?
Yes.
Pastor Sharaz?
Yes.
Betty? Yes. Deborah?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
Kim?
Yes.
And Dina, yes. A through E pass unanimously. Diane, item F. And that's heating, venting, and air conditioning maintenance contracts.
I just wanted just a little bit of clarification on, if I'm looking at the right one. No, I'm not looking at the right one, excuse me. Oh, yeah, okay. This is the second paragraph, the last line where it says the companies will exceed $350,000 in contract services, and that you're recommending, this is the recommendation, that for these two companies that that we approve $750,000. This is in addition to the $350,000, so these companies have already gone through that amount of money?
Yeah, so we're projecting that they will go through that amount of money between now and the end of the school year. And so we're coming to the board ahead of time so that if an HVAC were to go out, we could call them out for them to make the repairs so we don't lose too much time in school.
Okay, do you mind explaining the justification for, having to, because you're talking about almost double what the original estimate was, is that not correct?
So the 350 is that's the board policy for service contracts. These are repair services and not like replacement for construction and whatnot. We estimate that they will certainly exceed $350,000. And so each time that we would go over that, we would have to, by the board's policy, come back to the board and get that contract increased. And sometimes that, the school may be down, we need a contractor to come out and fix it, and there may be several schools that happens with. And so this is saying essentially that we know that between now and the end of the school, we will likely expend more than $350,000 with each of those. And so we're asking for expenditure up to $750, so that once we hit the 350 mark, we can still make those repairs without having to come back to the board.
Okay. And so these dollars are spent on all of our schools, including Page?
Correct.
Okay, so we try as quickly as possible to, I know some parents get upset that we've had to either close schools or delay or do remote, and, I mean, if we could just have a word as far as them understanding that we do have these folks on speed dial, right?
Correct.
And they do come out,
Yes,
but they do cost.
they do.
So, and that's the best, I mean, because I think the gentleman that was here last month or in January said there are 3 of them who do HVAC for us that are paid by us. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So I'm just wanting folks to understand that, you know, this is a necessary, expensive expense. And that we are doing our best to respond to those heating and cooling needs at all our schools as expeditiously as possible. Now, if somebody wants to give us another $1 million to put in a new HVAC system, I don't think we'll argue with them. But I just thought that we needed to make sure that we put this out there, that that's what we're trying to do. Move the item.
Yes,
And to that end, with having only 3 technicians on our actual payroll, this will also allow you to call in the contractors when needed without having to come back to us for approval every time, up to $750,000, correct?
Correct.
So this is adding to the services we have in hand. Thank you.
is there a second? Second. I had a question too. Oh, I'm sorry, Chrissy. I'm sorry, I did have your name here.
I just wanted to sort of piggyback on this and say, you know, yes, it's very helpful to be able to have a contract in place and have contractors that we can reach out to, especially in case of emergency. And boy, we've had a lot of this with some of our buildings. But I know I also talked extensively with Dr. Oakley about this, and the big push-pull that I feel in my head about having people on GCS staff who could do this work so that our money is going to our own employees instead of out to contractors. There are a lot of benefits of having our own employees who are familiar with the systems, who can go out to the school and immediately know, oh, I know what's wrong with this part. I've been here before. I've worked on this, that type of thing. This is, you know, a lot of money that we're spending, and it needs to be spent. Of course, we need to have our schools working, but I certainly would encourage us to do all that we can to try to continue recruiting HVAC people and continue advocating to try to pay those folks more so that we can retain people here. Thank you.
Thank you. Deborah? Oh, I'm sorry. I had a question. How much is it to replace an HVAC at a high school?
That's a tough question, but I mean, it could be.
Diane said $1 million, so if somebody wanted to give us $1 million to replace it, I know you weren't, I was just saying.
So the last one that we just replaced at Northeast, which is probably our average size, high school size, it was close to $8 million.
$8 million to replace an HVAC. Ellen?
I certainly agree with what Board Member Pratt said. I do want to clarify that the money that we are earmarking for these contracts is not money that we could use to pay our own people, correct?
No.
Okay. Can you say why?
Because we take it out of, as much as we can, out of Fund 4s.
Right.
We try to keep as much of the funding that we get from Fund 2 to go towards the staff that's in schools.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's not going to go towards salaries and things
Well,
like that.
that's an important distinction to me and maybe to others to know that this is not money that we could just easily move into that other purpose that I think we would all agree is highly valuable.
Diane?
Well,
It's important to remember it's also highly equipment-based. You're buying capital resources, which come out of a different fund than repairs. So if you may have labor, but you also have, in most HVA systems, large pieces of equipment or parts that cost a lot of money that have to be purchased because they're capital. They come out of a different fund.
And I just wanted to remind us, I think whenever Dr. Oakley or HR presented the market study, we are like, what a HV person can make in the private sector is like double what we're able to pay, and that part of our constraint is not on us. If I remember, the state sets what the rate of pay is. Is that not correct?
The base salary schedule is put out by the state,
Which is woefully low, right?
which is low, and then we're low in terms of the supplement we're able to provide.
So, I mean, our problem is not just, is that even if we recruit folk, if they come in here and spend 6 weeks with us and just kind of get their feet wet, they're gonna get recruited away because they can make more money, you know, and probably not work as hard, you know. So somehow or another, we need to figure out where do we get the balance there as far as being able to offer a livable wage and a wage that complements the skill level that these folks are putting in. So it's more complicated than just saying hire somebody.
Yeah, my last question is, or questions are, how many schools do we have?
After the consolidations, over 120.
120. How much HVACs do we have?
Employees?
No, HVAC systems.
Systems, more than 120.
More than 120. And how many HVAC technicians do we have?
We have 3 employees.
Okay, wait,
One
back
is-
up. We have 120 schools. We have over 120 HVAC systems. We have 3 technicians.
And one is certified, the other 2 are 2 helpers, not including the over 600 mobile.
That's
classrooms.
insane.
We're closer to 112 schools after the consolidation,
I
but
know,
still.
but still.
Yes, it's the perfect
So the
tee up for the
math,
budget.
either way,
presentation.
120, 112 divided by 1 and 2, you know, it's, I just want people to have that context and that perspective that, you know, with the weather and the things that are going on and the cost, and what's at the bottom of all of this, is factors into that, so, thank you. Had a motion and a second, and Diane, I'll start with you.
Yes.
Chrissy?
Yes.
Linda?
Yes.
Pastor?
Yes.
Betty? Yes. Deborah?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
Kim?
Yes.
And Dina, yes, that passes unanimously. Item G, Diane?
Okay. I wanted this actually to be kind of a celebratory thing because we got some lottery money that we actually can spend the way it's supposed to be spent. So I wanted, I had attended the state school board association, and of course at every meeting, the lottery folk are there telling us what a great job they're doing for us. And so then they said, oh, by the way, there is a separate fund that's over at DPI. Y'all can go get that if you wish to. So I came back and, you know, rattled the saber at our superintendent and said, why are we not getting this money? So I think this is it, isn't it?
Yes.
So can somebody just kind of tell?
Tyler,
'cause-
you want to come up and explain?
And after he went searching, they found that there was some that we hadn't gotten, so, but we want to keep it quiet because we don't want the county commissioners to then.
Yes, thank you, Ms. Bellamy Spolz, yes. So obviously, lottery funds come in 2 different buckets, repair and renovation and building capital fund. Building capital fund is the portion that the county government can utilize for debt service. Repair and renovation fund is the one that's on the docket and schedule in the item before you in G. That money is actually only used, it cannot be used by the capital for lottery or for debt service. And yes, that is why we have the application on the agenda tonight to do great work and items that are eligible for that criteria.
So maybe we'll get one of those HV systems fixed page or something. I just wanted us to celebrate the fact that this lottery money is actually going to what it's intended.
It is, but it's going to a repair at High Point Central.
Oh, shoot. Well, great for High Point Central, but maybe next time. All right, move the item.
Thank you. Is there a second? Second. All right, we're at item G on our consent agenda. I just want to say for the public, that's Public School Building Repair and Renovation Fund Distribution Request. I'll start down here. Kim?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
Deborah?
Yes.
Betty? Yes. Pastor Strauss?
Yes.
Linda?
Yes.
Chrissy?
Yes.
Diane?
Yes.
And Dina, yes, that passes unanimously. We are now at comments from the chair. So good evening again, and congratulations to Eastern High wrestling coach Maurice Atwood, who was named a 2023-2024 National Coach of the Year by the National Federation of State High School Associations. He is only one of 24 coaches selected across the country and the only one representing North Carolina. Guilford County Schools will host a social and emotional learning, family, and community day Saturday, March 15th from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. at Jamestown Middle. That's this Saturday. The event features free food, activities, resources, and prizes, and all are welcome. Congratulations to Burke Deaton, an 8th grader from Mendenhall Middle, for winning the 2025 Guilford County Schools Spelling Bee. Burke secured the victory by spelling the challenging word parsimony. I was just wondering if I got to it, if I could say it, which means an extreme reluctance to spend money or use resources. Apropos for tonight's conversation. Last week was School Social Work Week, and we want to take a moment to celebrate our 84 school social workers and our former social workers at our schools. Thank you, Vice Chair Ms. Jenkins, and for the many ways they support our students and their families with their physical, social, and emotional needs. They strengthen our students' connections to community resources, and they help us serve the whole child. We really appreciate their impact on the lives of our students and their families. And on Sunday, March 16th, Guilford County School students in grades 6 through 12 are invited to participate in a 3rd annual Youth White Coat Summit from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. on the campus of North Carolina A&T State University. This free event is designed to encourage young people who are interested in healthcare careers. To learn more, visit www.ffdomp.org. Thank you, and this concludes my remarks. Dr. Oakley?
Good evening. Kindergarten registration is now open for the 25-26 school year. Parents who have children who will be 5 years old by August 31st are invited to register at gcsnc.schoolmint.net. Elementary schools are hosting kindergarten kickoff events during the whole month of March, and you can find a list of those events at gcsnc.com/kindergarten. You may also register for a virtual session on kindergarten transitioning that's happening Wednesday, March 12th at noon. The registration link is on the calendar section of our website. If your child will be 4 by August 31st, you're invited to apply for a spot in one of our pre-kindergarten classrooms at www.guilfordchildren.org. The Visual and Performing Arts Elementary School will host a family and community night on Wednesday, March 19th from 6 to 7 p.m. at the Charlotte Hawkins Brown Museum, 6136 Burlington Road in Gibsonville. Families can learn more about the new school, ask questions, meet the principal, and enjoy a performance. Please be sure to RSVP at gcsnc.com/VPA. I want to congratulate Assistant Superintendent Marshall Matson, who will receive the Legacy of Impact for Alumni Leadership Award from Teach for America. He will be joined by former Superintendent Dr. Sharon Contreras, who will receive the Legacy of Excellence in Educational Leadership Award. GCS continues to be proud of these leaders and our commitment to programs like Teach for America, which help to develop caring and committed educators from all walks of life, and these awards are certainly well deserved. Finally, I want to take just a moment to celebrate our success on the Nation's Report Card, which was just released in January. This assessment, which is taken every 2 years by a random sampling of students, tracks our students' proficiency in 4th and 8th grade reading and math. Guilford County was one of the only large districts to see improvement for both low and high-performing student groups in 4th grade math. In fact, in 2024, GCS had an 8.5-point gain from 2022, which was the second largest gain in 4th grade math among all other large city districts participating in the assessment. We are one of 2 districts whose gains were significantly better than their state, and GCS also improved at about the same or a greater rate compared to public schools nationally in all 4 tested areas. Thank you, and this concludes my remarks.
Thank you. We are now at our 2023-2024 Annual Comprehensive Financial Report.
Mr.
Welcome,
Beck
Mr.
will
Beck,
take
Ms. Bell.
over.
Good evening, Board, again. I have the privilege of first acknowledging the district staff, different colleagues across the board. As we know, it's a general statute requirement to do an annual audit. We obviously take that very seriously, and so does our team across the district. So obviously, finance leads the charge with this, but it's a collective effort and appreciation across the board from the compliance side and fiscal management approach. Tonight, partner April Bell with Forvis Mazars will present a summary report and kind of walk through this and open the floor for comments towards the end. Just a reminder, each of you should have received a full annual comprehensive financial report, ACFR, at your either desk or in previous meetings. So if you need one, please let us know. But it's also online. 126 pages of great information and financial documentation. So I will turn over to Mrs. Bell.
Thank you, Tyler, and thank you all. It is a pleasure to be with you here tonight. My name is April Bell, and I'm an audit partner with Forvis Mazars. I sit here right here in Greensboro, and it is a pleasure to be able to share with you the results of your audit for the year ending June 30, 2024. So this is an agenda of the things that we're going to cover tonight. I'm going to go through the audit results. I'm going to share some board communications. I will review financial highlights. And then we're going to talk just a little bit about accounting standards that will be coming out and effective for years going forward. So audit results. Your audit did include two pieces. The first was a financial statement audit, and I am pleased to report that this is a snip from your the audit opinion that's in your financial statements. This is the report or the letter that we put in the document, and it is our opportunity to report to you how the financial statements were presented, and you did receive an unmodified report, which is exactly what you would have wanted and what you would have expected, and we would have expected, quite frankly. The second part of the audit is what we call the single audit. There are 3 reports that we issue in connection with the single audit. The first is the Yellow Book report, and this is the report that reports on your compliance and controls related to financial reporting. You didn't have any findings with that. You also had a federal single audit opinion, and this is a snip from that. This also, on this page, we've told you which of your federal programs were audited this year. So we don't audit all of your federal programs, but instead we do a sampling of those based on what was audited in the past and the size of those programs. So these are the reports or the funds programs that we audited this year. We audited the COVID-19 Education Stabilization Fund, the Supporting Effective Instruction State Grants, as well as Special Education Cluster, and there were no findings related to those programs that we audited. And on the third report that we issue related to the single audit is the state single audit report. And this year we audited the State Public School Fund, as well as the Public School Building Capital Fund. Again, no findings related to your state programs that we audited. So very, very strong results from both your financial statement audit as well as the single audit that we performed. Also in connection with the financial statements that you received, we have a letter that is issued to the board because you are responsible for the audit, and this is just some of the information that's included in that letter. We are required to point you to the significant accounting policies that are in the financial statements, just so that you can be aware of the accounting policies, and you can find those in Note 1 to the financial statements that Tyler mentioned earlier. If we had had unusual accounting policies, if we had consulted with other accountants, or had any difficulties in connection with management, we would have reported that in this letter. You can see here that there's a lot of no matters are reportable. If we had had any of those issues that we had encountered during the audit, we would have reported those to you in this letter. Also in connection with that letter, we report to you management judgments and accounting estimates. Most of the numbers that are in your financial statements are solid numbers. They don't include estimates, but there are some estimates that are included in your financial statements. Those estimates are related to the useful lives of your depreciable assets, the liabilities related to your pension and OPEB liabilities, and the lease and subscription terms and incremental borrowing rates related to your leases and technology subscriptions. And so we report those to you just so that you're aware of those estimates that are included in the financial statements. Again, if we had issues that we had discussed with management, we, would have included those in the letter. If there had been any concerns about going concern, we would have included them. And we do make reference to management's representation letter that is attached to this letter. So again, really just information that we share with you in this letter that we're required to share according to audit standards. All right, I do want to share with you some financial highlights from the audit, and instead of going through the financial statements, we have pulled information out of the financial statements and have put them in this presentation for you, because the financial statements, if you went through the financial statements, you notice that there's just 1 year financial information outside of the management's discussion and analysis in the statistical section. And so we feel like it's good to have at least 3 years of information so that you can have some benchmarking data as you're looking at the financial statements. And so you can see here that you experienced some small increases in your state funding as well as your county and other local funding this year. I'll remind you that your state funding is the funding that you receive from the state of North Carolina for most of your teacher positions as well as the benefits. And so in many cases, that increase in funding is tied directly to either increases in compensation or benefit costs that have continued to increase. One thing that is a little unusual when we compare it to what other LEAs experienced across the state was that you did have an increase in your federal funding this year. And that increase was primarily related to an $8 million increase in USDA funding this year. And we'll talk about that in just a minute when we get to the Child Nutrition Fund. And you had about a $42 million increase in your education stabilization funds. I would imagine that when you get to fiscal year 25, you're probably going to see a cliff, and so those funds will drop off in fiscal year 25. But you experienced an increase. Other LEAs may have experienced a decrease as those funds are starting to trail off. One chart that we like to share with you is an analysis of how you spent your money, and this is comparing your instructional type expenditures to other expenditures, and this is really based on how you account for and classify your expenditures with the North Carolina Chart of Accounts. And you can see here that your percentage of expenditures for instructional type services was very consistent and has been very consistent over the last 3 years. And that is something that we've seen historically here with Guilford County Schools to be the case. That is noteworthy though, because as we saw on the chart just before this, you have had changes in your funding sources. And so, being able to maintain that level type of expenditures, even though your funding sources have changed, is noteworthy. Wanted to share just a little bit of information about your fund balance. So these next two charts share some information about fund balance. And this first chart is showing your general and special revenue fund balance, because those are the two funds that you have the most discretion over how you spend that fund balance, and really the two funds primarily that build fund balance. And you can see here that while you've had a decrease in total fund balance over the last couple of years, your amount that's available for appropriation, which is that middle bar, and the amount that's unassigned, which is the smallest bar, has stayed relatively consistent over the last couple of years. That will continue to be very important, that you be mindful of that and continue to do that, particularly when your federal funding starts to decline, because you may find that if you have to dip into your fund balance, you would only be able to do that maybe 1 or 2 years until you find yourself in a very different position. This next chart is just showing that fund balance as a percent of your total governmental expenditures, excluding capital outlay. And you can see here, this is a great way to see that indeed the level of fund balance that is unassigned and has not been appropriated into the next year's budget has been very consistent from fiscal year 23 to fiscal year 24. All right, and the last chart that we have to share relates to your school food service fund and really strong results from your school food service fund. You can see here that your cash balance in this fund continues to increase, really in relationship to the net income that this fund is representing. And you can see here that this fund does get accounted for as a for-profit business would be accounted for. And so, you know, just the continued success of this fund and your ability to drive those federal revenues this year, while food sales did decline just a little bit, but you did have an increase in your revenues and your expenses for this fund with net income of about $2.8 million. All right. I have just a little bit more information that I'm going to share, but before we look to the future, to accounting standards that are changing, I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have related to the financial results. Sure.
Okay, page 8. The only question that I have, and this is probably for Mr. Beck, is I know we just did a whole series of new policies in the last couple of months. When will those become effective? Because they won't have anything to do with this report, right? But they'll be, you know what I'm talking about?
You're talking about our management policies, board policies related to accounting and management process? No, these are governed by a separate entity. The board will establish policies. How do we manage funds and distributions of accounting within the organization? Mm-hmm. This is more of like a GAAP and non-GAAP government standards.
Okay. And then just on page 12, when you say instructional, what does that cover?
Go ahead, Tyler.
So as Mrs. Bell elegantly stated, the state establishes a chart of account, and so anything related to a 5,000 level accounting code would go to instruction. So that would be school-based items, so not district level. That would be something that actually is embedded in the school building. So teachers would be paid out of that, would go towards that number. Anything that was actually enhancement to the school building or classroom.
Okay, so does that also include supplies like books and stuff like that?
Absolutely. Anything they would use in the course of an instructional day.
Okay, so that also includes the technology that our kids are using now?
Actually, we do not classify that. We do that in the 6,000 level. So actually that would skew our numbers even higher when it comes to instructional. But that goes under the technology budget, which is a 6,000 level account.
But aren't the kids using the?
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Kim?
My question is more about how you complete the audit. Do you know ahead of time what categories, programs they were going to ask for, or do you you come in blind?
Yeah, so we are, the federal government and the state government mandates how we select the programs that have to be audited. And so, and in fact, that's some information that I'll share with you towards the end of the presentation. But we, you know, the government kind of says, based on this criteria, these are the programs that we're required to audit.
Okay.
We do prepare a list of information that we request in connection with the audit. And so Tyler receives that in advance, and he would be aware of the information that we need to be able to complete the audit.
Okay, great, thank you.
All right, well, thank you.
All right, so just a little bit more information that I'll share with you. Occasionally from time to time, there are new accounting standards that are issued that impact the financial statements and the information that we're required to report. There is a new accounting standard that will be effective for this next year, your June 30, 2025 audit. and it relates to disclosures that will be required in the financial statements for concentrations and constraints. And so that's just something that we'll deal with as we work through the audit next year. For the year after, June 30, 2026, there are 2 new accounting standards that will be effective. The first one is related to financial reporting model improvements, and this will impact the management's discussion and analysis part of the audit report, as well as how unusual items have to be reported in the financial statements. And then there's a disclosure related to certain capital assets, specifically related to any capital assets that you might have that would be available for sale. So I don't expect any significant changes to your financial statements, but just want to make you aware of those in case you happen to be in a school board meeting somewhere at the state level and hear about those. And then finally, the last piece of information that I'll share is that there are some changes related to the single audit this next year. And so in response to the question, we are required to audit programs on a rotation basis if they are over $750,000. This was historically the level. That new threshold has been moved to $1 million. And so there's just been a couple changes with that will impact the programs that are required to be audited in connection with that single audit. And really the purpose of that is there are a lot of smaller units or organizations that receive smaller amounts of money, that this will, keep them from needing to have a single audit. So positive changes, probably not significant changes though for Guilford County Schools. And that's it. I've included my contact information here, so I would welcome anybody to reach out to me if you have any additional questions.
I'm sorry, can I go back to page 15? And just that, I think what you're saying is that our food services is doing okay for this year, is that correct?
That's right,
Okay, now, we gave the food service folk a pay increase that, if I understood, part of it came out of this, is that correct? Nope.
We included in our local budget last year. But if we continue to do well, then the grade and step request that they had done, we may be able to implement that. And so we're hopeful that we will continue on this trajectory.
Okay. But you really want to underline maybe?
Maybe,
right,
correct.
Okay. Okay, I just wanted to make sure that we understand that this is an enterprise fund as opposed to, state dollars, right? Okay, so it has to support itself, right? Okay.
And one additional kind of item for this year as well, that'll be interesting to see at the end of the year how the revenue stream, we added additional CEP schools, so federal reimbursements rate, so the participation rate will really drive that number, and we're hopeful that it'll be consistent with the increase that we saw in '24, that we'll see the same increase in federal revenue at the same level because of the participation rates increasing and more access.
Okay, this is probably not a question for right now, but are we anticipating any cuts as far as, because the part of our money for this comes from Department of Agriculture, is that correct? No.
Oh, you mean, are we anticipating federal cuts
Yes.
related to USDA?
Yes.
Not before this stay tuned. We have not received any indication that has been a topic of discussion that will impact local public school districts yet.
Thank you.
All right, no more questions? David, you don't have a question? Yeah. You do?
Use your mic.
I want to compliment Mr. Beck on your work in getting the information together. I know this is very time-consuming, all-encompassing sort of effort. And, in reviewing this, clearly there was a lot of good communication here. My question, though, goes to the auditor. near the end, there's section compliance. And, you know, you lay out the limitations of an audit. You know, you don't review everything. I think your word is test. So basically, you're sampling information that's provided to you. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. You know, your company, I believe, has been doing this for several years now. Do you use the same methodology in your testing every year, or do you mix it up?
Yeah, our methodology has changed. In fact, we are implementing a new audit methodology this year. And we have mixed it up, and we've changed the engagement executive, the person who assigned the audit report as well. And anytime there's a change in that position, there's always a different team and different approaches.
Okay, well, I appreciate that because I think that's very important. And I just wanted to question you about that and get that on the record. I think that's super important.
Yeah.
You know, I think we've got a very good operation, and I'm not suggesting anything else. But my past experience would lead me to be a little cautious. And I appreciate the fact that you're using different testing methods, different sampling methods, and changing your personnel.
Yep.
I think that's excellent.
Thank you.
Chrissy?
I have one question. And this really is just for the benefit of the public, because one of the things that I seem to hear every year around this time is, well, what does that audit really mean? What are they really looking at? And I wonder if you could just go a little bit into detail on that. You know, I've heard in some cases that it's just sort of checking to see, does 1 + 2 or really equal 3? Or are we really looking to see what this money is allocated for, and is it being used for what we say it's allocated for? So could you just give a little bit of an explanation of the level of detail that this audit goes into?
Yeah, sure. So for the financial statement audit, which is that first opinion that I shared at the beginning of the presentation, for the financial statement audit, we are auditing the numbers that are in the financial statements, which means we're sending bank confirmations. We're confirming, you know, we have the ability to confirm with governmental units almost all of the revenues that are reported for Guilford County schools. And we're providing or performing other tests like recalculating the revenue that's in child nutrition. And so we are performing, you know, standard audit procedures that would be performed almost for like any other kind of company for the financial statement audit. For the compliance audit or the single audit, we are testing those expenditures to ensure that those expenditures were spent in the way the grant intended those things to be spent.
Fantastic. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Pastor, you didn't have a question, did you? Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Thank you, Tyler, as well. All right, Dr. Oakley, you're up.
Okay. The end of staff reports tonight is the budget recommendation, and I'll get some help from Mr. Beck and Dr. Monk throughout the presentation, but really just so the board has an idea of what's happening. We'll go ahead and look at the timeline briefly. Many of you know that this is one step in the process. We have a projected timeline here. We did have a request from the county this time last year to try to get our recommendation to them sooner. So having this recommendation initially tonight is part of our trying to meet that request. We will have our public hearing on the budget on April 8th. We could vote at that point should the board choose to do so. If not, we will reconvene on the 22nd to be able to take that vote. The county manager, of course, will present the county budget May 15th to meet those requirements for the state level. And then, of course, we'll have those interim budget resolutions if needed, as we have in recent years past. Our purpose this evening is to provide a review of how GCS is fueling economic growth for the county, how we define excellence as the best public school choice for our collective future, discuss the facilities master plan in conjunction with the budget, and how our bond projects are also producing economic benefits that will support growth here. We're going to talk about student enrollment, and we'll end with a draft of the 25-26 budget recommendation, which will include the 25-26 local fund budget, and finally the 25-26 operating budget. So we'll just start with a little bit of a reminder about how we believe public schools can impact our local economy. I do think that public schools have the power to be transformative. We've seen evidence of that here in our own community. We're not just institutions of learning, but we're fueling growth by fostering community development, shaping the growth of communities and their future. And we really believe that we can continue to elevate our community to unprecedented levels of success if we stay the course that we're on. When we talk about what excellent means, we've talked a little bit about some of the recognitions, but there's a lot to celebrate here. Our students are making progress. You heard a little bit about that tonight. We're showing innovation through learning recovery efforts that have gotten some national attention. We're investing in the well-being of students. We are launching large new partnerships with businesses like Toyota and Apple. We're in the process of consolidating our central offices, which will improve our collaboration, our efficiency, and our innovation. But we know that we're got to stick to the course. We're on the right path, but we have to stay consistent and be disciplined about how we do this work with limited resources in a post-pandemic era. We've been talking a lot about what being the best means, and really it's exceeding expectations and creating innovative programs that focus on a path for every single individual student. We know that's about more than just test scores. It's about fostering individuals who are ready to lead. At GCS, we remain committed to accelerating learning and helping students recover from learning loss. It's still not over, and we'll continue to stay that course. We're focused on fostering those critical thinking skills and preparing students for higher education or their career of their choice. We have more than 60 innovative choice programs and opportunities for every learner, and we're trying to relentlessly be these champions for student success. We offer some of the most in-demand schools and programs in the nation, and we also have really good neighborhood schools, and it's just important to connect that to our economy and growth that's happening here. And how we also define excellence is really how we support the whole child with caring teachers and staff, many of whom we saw tonight. We've stayed committed, and this board has, to the vision of transforming learning and life outcomes for all students. This vision is grounded in the mission to graduate students as responsible citizens. To continue thriving as a school district, we know we're going to have to continue to reimagine what education can and should be and what our role is in that. And our strategic direction and our focus areas really do reflect our shared vision for the future of Guilford County. As a reminder, these are those 4 areas, and you'll see each of these in the budget recommendations, so they will be aligned with what we're working on. As we think about accelerating learning, we're prioritizing strengthening the core curriculum, increasing access to high-quality instruction, no matter what your zip code is or whether you attend a choice school or a neighborhood school. We believe that all students should receive a high-quality education across the entire school district. 2 planning teams have been working to analyze current practices and research strategies to develop a comprehensive transition plan for key academic transition points at kindergarten entry and the transition from 5th to 6th grade and 8th to 9th grade. We've heard from families that we need to get this right. This plays into our enrollment, which plays into how we're funded. So all of these things are really connected, but there's some exciting news. The result of that has been really an intentional focus on marketing and positive outreach to families. We're already seeing some of this work pay off. In the past week, in 1 week, we've had more than 1,500 kindergarten registrations, which is kind of unprecedented for us as we lead up to August, so we're excited about that. Our research team has been working with traditional high schools on best practices that can be implemented to help students have smoother transition points. So in addition to kind of compiling what these best practices are, We've also analyzed data from our high schools that have freshman academies and found that on average, students who can attend a freshman academy have fewer discipline referrals, have fewer ISS or OSS incidents than in a traditional ninth grade without a freshman academy. So there's things that work for kids when they transition into kindergarten from 5th to 6th grade and 8th to 9th grade that result in sense of belonging, but also have academic and behavior things. So more to come on enrollment strategies, but the work is paying off there. Our schools are also making progress. This is not the time to slow down. We know we have to keep the momentum and stay the course of doing what works. We're really proud of the teachers and students and district and school leaders who worked really hard to help students perform on grade level and improve their growth. You can forward on to the next one. We're also excited that the 23-24 graduation cohort rate of 92.2 is the highest we've seen, and many of those graduates took at least one college course or earned a CTE credential along the way. When we look at health, wellness, and safety, those, we're trying to strengthen at scale across schools. We're going to continue to advocate and engage community. This is not work we can do alone. We're also going to have to seek other funding options so that everybody has what they need. But we also can't do it all in a sustainable way without the federal dollars. So when we think about things like tutoring and learning hubs and safety measures like the touchless security scanners, those are things that we funded with those federal dollars. So you're going to see some of that come out in this budget request. Outside the classroom, we're making some progress in supporting the well-being of students. Last year, we created this model that just integrates telehealth, nurses that are provided by the county, and mental health services, and kind of how all of those things intersect. You can see here that school-based telehealth is now available at 14 elementary schools. We're going to add 10 more. And within the next year. In the past year, we served 380 students on average per campus and over 3,000 visits that resulted in just over 1,400 actual telehealth virtual visits with a doctor. This has been in partnership with Guilford Education Alliance, Oak Foundation, Cone Health, and some others, and we believe that this will increase instructional time, decrease cost of care, decrease guardians' time away from work. In some cases, the hourly employees don't have to leave work to come. And that, I think will continue to help kids and student wellness. So the overall trends so far for students who are participating in these clinics include higher average attendance, improved math scores, higher reading proficiency, and fewer discipline referrals. When we pivot away from just wellness to safety and security, another key measure is a camera project that you heard about in our safety update recently, installing cameras in every school maintained on our property. Over 5,800 cameras with over 12,500 views have been installed in our schools. So we have way more coverage that's more easily accessible for our administrators across school campuses. And as a reminder, we also have the touchless scanners at every middle and comprehensive high school. We talked a little bit about this earlier, but I think it's important to point out what's different. The new centralized radio system upgrades, which run on the Guilford Metro communication system. This means that transportation has all new radios. Each school and key central office positions have those portable radios. It provides direct access from buses to the transportation supervisors, and makes that communication between school and bus and school-to-school communications, including emergency buttons like when Kaiser needs to talk to Grimsley, or when a bus concern has happened, how quickly that communication happened has really changed because of this. And these radios are on the 911 system. So even if there's a widespread emergency situation, those will continue to work. Sometimes we've read about, in other cases, those cell phone towers can become overloaded and not work when there's a crisis happening. So this is really helpful. We can also use them for large pre-planned events when we know things like graduation are coming up. So those are all very helpful. The next piece is really, really important. You'll see it reflected in the budget request, but the purpose of our work is to invest in people. Without our people, we just can't achieve the vision that we've set forth to transform learning and life outcomes for all students, but we also know that inflation remains high and things are more expensive than they have been, and our teachers and our staff deserve salaries that allow them to provide for their families as the cost of living continues to rise. This is not just specific to our frontline workers, it's also true for our teachers. You heard about the challenges with HVAC, and those are all kind of reflected here. So around teacher supplement, the RAND researchers are reporting, and this is not a new statistic, that teachers matter more than anything else in student achievement, more than any other aspect of schooling. And there's a really critical link between teacher quality and student success, and that's why we have to invest in teacher supplements to ensure that we have the best teachers in our classroom. We have to offer competitive compensation. We know that teacher supplements are a key component of this that this board has advocated for many years in a row. And that has to be addressed if we're going to retain highly effective teachers here. If you talk about teacher attrition, in North Carolina, teacher attrition is defined by the reduction in the number of teachers when they leave a school district without moving to another in-state district. So this includes teachers who leave the profession entirely, they retire, or they move to educational roles outside of the state's public school system. I think it's important to remember that this shows the 2023 State of the Teaching Profession report. The 24 report is not yet available. This was a report to the General Assembly that included teacher attrition rates that ranging from 6% in Camden County to 30% in Asheville City. Here in GCS, our attrition rate is 18.3%, which is higher than the state's attrition rate of 16.8%, and it's higher than all the large school districts except for Durham Public Schools. We advocated for increases to our local teacher supplement last year in the 24-25 budget request, and we have been working with commissioners to support our teachers with a local supplement that is competitive with our surrounding districts and the largest school districts in the state. However, as we have been working to increase our local supplement, we face other school districts that have and that are allocating funds to make their teachers the highest paid in the state. So we're just falling farther and farther behind as other local counties are increasing. You can see what that looks like here. We've shared this before, but we're one of 4 counties that are excluded from the state's $100 million teacher supplement funds, so we are written out of that. Our neighbors, Winston-Salem, Forsyth, Alamance, Randolph, and Rockingham, all get those funds. So you don't have to drive very far to access those state teacher supplement dollars. We can make the inference here that the bumps in other districts' teacher supplements just put us farther and farther behind as we try to catch up and recruit and retain top talent. The red line is us here in comparison to these other large districts, and you can see that we're at the bottom for last year and we're at the bottom again for this year. So the 25-26 budget recommendation does include $10 million to increase the local teacher supplement. We'll shift to the classified staff compensation plan. This was alluded to earlier when we were talking about challenges in keeping our HVAC staff. We've also advocated for increases for our non-teaching staff. We know that many of these employees keep our district running, and some also have trouble taking care of their own families. And you can see some of what's happening around us to begin to address this problem. This slide was referred to earlier around how far we are from market value. HVAC is the third from the bottom, and you can see with 30 years of experience, we're $9 per hour away, and we're chasing this. This is getting worse with time, not better with time, so we'll always be chasing these numbers. But when we talk about challenges we have and how much we're paying contracted services, this is why. Like, this is the answer to the question here. So the classified staff compensation plan, the next steps for that, if we're able to receive any funding towards that, is to create consistent differences between steps and grades. You'll remember that when the minimum wage went to $15 an hour, it created all this compression that we've had to address. We want to reduce the number of grades so that there's a meaningful distinction between the different types of jobs and their scope and their impact. And then, of course, raise the pay rate to be more comparable to market value. So you'll see in the budget recommendation a $15.3 million request for phase 2 of the classified staff compensation plan. In terms of preparing students for the world, when we think about our facilities, I didn't need an intro to this because they handled that in public comment. We know that our students need resources to compete in the global economy, so we really want our schools to be accessible to places for kids in the community beyond the school day and the normal school year. We've talked about making sure that our campuses are places where we prepare students to seek different pathways, employment, enlistment, entrepreneurship, and enrichment. And of course, in addition to that, the $2 billion in school funds is helping us do that. But the projects take time. We're staying the course, but it does take time. And when we get to the final product, we're really proud of it. We just wish we could do more faster at more schools. Closing on that piece, it's important, I think, to know this growing need for community involvement. Our community did step up last year. I mean, we've received some philanthropic funding to help us continue things that work and that help us address the challenges facing our school districts. So while we go to the county with an ask, we're also advocating for other philanthropic partners and businesses to step up. And we will continue to do that as we move forward. We are really proud of these numbers in terms of preparing students for the world. In Guilford County schools, we increased dual college enrollment by 46%, while the states grew by 12%. So we're doing a good job getting kids access to college credit, and we need to continue to do that. It reduces their debt. It shows them that they can do college level work, and it sets them on a trajectory that can really change their lives. But we did have GCS students who took more than 10,000 college courses last year, either through College and Career Promise or through early and middle. Yes, it's really exciting. But college enrollment's not the only thing. We talked about the business partnerships. The industry recognized credentials are soaring in numbers, and last year we were able to announce the $1.5 million partnership with Toyota, and this work is continuing moving forward at 4 different campuses. Over the last 4 years, we've seen those industry recognized credentials jump. You can see from just under 3,000 to almost 11,000 in 3 years in terms of students earning credentials, which is a big increase of 263%. So students are taking advantage of these credentials, and we need to continue to expand that. When we think about post-secondary pathways, we've talked some about this, but we are gaining momentum here. We're trying to be innovative and provide all students with opportunities that even our youngest students can use to explore. So this is what parents have said, like, I want to know what the choices are sooner, like 5th, 6th grade, not when I'm registering my kid for high school courses. Like, how can we get this information about pathways that are available earlier? So the goal really is for elementary students to be exposed to careers, middle school students to explore careers, and high school students to experience careers and college credit while they're still with us as part of that K-12 experience. This is just an example of partnerships that are growing quickly with GTCC so our students can benefit from things like the college and career program. So instead of GTCC advertising this by themselves, we're doing that together in partnership to try to get more information to more families. So with that, I'll turn it over to Dr. Monk to tie in the facilities master plan.
All right, and thank you, Dr. Oakley. We currently have 20 new or replacement school projects in different phases of their project life cycle, and we're deploying about $500 million towards safety, technology, and extensive deferred capital work at our schools. We've opened 4 new schools in 2024 school year, which are Claxton Elementary, Faust Gaming and Robotics, Peck Expeditionary Learning, and Brooks Global Studies. During the 2025 26 school year, we'll plan to open up 2 more new schools, Kaiser Middle and Visual and Performing Arts Elementary. During the process of opening up the new schools this year, we've consolidated 5 of our elementary schools into 2 elementary schools that were completed. This not only increases our current operational efficiency, it also enables us to align those continuous and consistent pathways that Dr. Oakley just spoke about. Here you'll see our deferred capital replacement allocations thus far. As you can see, the majority of the work that we have either in the procurement or the committed phase are within the first $58 million that we received. As a reminder, we received an additional $50 million at the second quarter of fiscal year 2025, so around November of 2024. And those projects are currently in the planning and design phase. I want to talk a little bit more about student enrollment. You all probably recognize this because we just talked about this last month. But all across the nation, student enrollment has been on a constant trend downward, and that has grown a lot since COVID. Here in our own district, we have gone in 2018 school year from 71,698 students to this past school year, 66,474 students. It's important to note that our charter school enrollment has increased here from 7,381 students to over 11,200 students. But like I said before, that bottom line says that we're consistently staying around 90,000 students in all of Gifford County, and we're prepared to do what it takes to get the vast majority of those students back into Gifford County schools. And one of the ways that we're doing that is through the Gifford Experience. With students and families at the center of our work, we launched the Gifford Experience Working Group last March. The working group was composed of 74 members divided into 3 groups, and they were dedicated to enhancing the entire student and family experience with 3 main goals. The first is aligning academic pathways in both choice and neighborhood schools, enhancing the scale of how we tell our story here at Gifford County Schools and all those great things that Dr. Oakley spoke about earlier, and providing consistent and robust customer service to our families so that they experience the world-class education that we're providing. This work extends to several critical areas, and we are actively addressing enrollment strategies so that we can turn the tide and get more of that 90,000 students that we talked about. And that one of those examples Dr. Oakley spoke about earlier was the kindergarten readiness kickoff that happened in February. We're going to continue our program alignment work across all of our school levels, recognizing the importance of our transition years and implementing strategies to support our school students as they move from grades 5 to 6 and 8 to 9. And we're also expanding access to our college credits and industry credentials as a part of the Gifford County School Experience. One of the most important factors, though, that we're also doing is strengthening our partnerships with community organizations, for instance, Ready for School, Ready for Life, because we understand that those collaborations are essential for our student success. Now I'll turn it over to, one more thing. We actually put some money and some intentionality in this 20 schools that were projected to lose the most students this past school year. And while we still lost students overall, we're happy to say that we actually exceeded what our projection was. So we had more students enrolled this year than what we had projected to enroll. And we believe that is because we did something, and we're going to continue to do something. I'll turn it over to Mr. Beck.
Thank you, Dr. Monk. Now let's look ahead at the 25-26 superintendent's budget recommendation. One item to note, each of you have a full detailed financial document within the superintendent's recommended budget book, just for your reference throughout this, because we're going to use a lot of high summary documents, but the details within the actual document. We are looking at the local and capital budgets in detail here because this is what the request to the county commissioners will include. Following the local and capital request, in just a minute, we will also talk through the state fund and federal grant funds and the total budget in its whole. Here you can see the estimated mandatory increases for the 25-26 school year. A couple items to note, there's a growth in charter school enrollment is reflected in two numbers, and that is the enrollment increase as well as the per pupil amounts that GCS will have to pay for each additional dollar they receive from the county. So going through this document, you can see salary and benefit increases are based on 24-25's biennium budget, which is the House Bill 259. So as the state moves for a new biennium budget, you can see in the 26-27 year, we are expecting similar raises that were in the House Bill 259. So in summary, the district will need approximately $6.3 million related to legislated salary and benefit increases, $1.7 million for utility and insurance increases, and $2.6 million for charter schools, including both the annual growth and the per pupil amount for all charter school students if we receive the total $10.6 million from the county for the legally required and sustaining operation costs. As a reminder, for every single dollar that we receive, approximately 14.9 cents goes to charter schools. Other increases, obviously, are the health insurance, retirement, as well as other items. Here we have the annual costs related to safety and security. Recall in the 23-24 and 24-25 school years, we were able to use ESSER funds to cover annual subscription costs for safety and security measures. Unfortunately, for the 25-26 school year, ESSER funds are not available to apply to this continuation of subscriptions with estimated cost approximately $3.6 million. Here we have the cost of increasing the local teacher supplement and implementing the classified salary plan phase 2 for a total of $29.7 million. We are also advocating at the state level for the school-based staff to be included in the state teacher supplement that Dr. Oakley talked about, that 4 districts are not included within. This is a summary of the 25-26 estimated budget request expansion items. We start with the legally required and sustaining operations of $10.6 million, safety and security of $3.6 million, and compensation of $29.7 with a total of $43.9 million in estimated increases for the 25-26 school year. Within this request, a total of $7.5 million will be transferred to charter schools. When we add the $43.9 million request increase to the 24-25 county appropriation received, we are requesting a total county appropriation for our operating fund of $314 million, which is a 16.2% increase from last year's request. While we are making tremendous progress on our capital improvement program with the use of bond funds, there are certain scopes of work for which bond funds are not allowable, but are critical to operating safe, healthy, and conducive learning environments. For example, we've spent $9 million total for HVAC repairs as of February 2025 that were not full system or major component replacements, but were critical continuing operations. Additionally, the district has other capital needs such as equipment and vehicle replacement for which bond funds are not an option as an allowable funding source. As we know, we need to maintain and repair our facilities in a manner that does not lead to an enormous deferred capital backlog. Our employees need equipment and facilities that allow them to carry out their duties in a safe and productive manner so that our students thrive academically. Our capital outlay request brings us closer to realizing that outcome. Now we will share the 25-26 total operating budget requests that include the state, local, and federal funds. As we await activity from our state legislator for the biennium budget, our recommended budget of $495 million is based on the 24-25 allotment formulas, and they are adjusted for the estimated impact of salary increases that we talked about earlier. For the 25-26 school year, this state planning allotment projection is based on daily enrollment of 6,142 students, or 66,142 students. Thank you. Just a little check. In our local current expense fund, the recommended county appropriation request is $314 million, a requested increase of $43.8 million. This local budget scenario also includes a $3 million of fines and forfeitures and $1.3 million of interest earned on investments, bringing the total local budget recommendation to $318.3 million. Shifting to the federal grants fund, we base these projections on the 24-25 federal grants allotment plus the estimated carryover balance for a total of $54.5 million. The 25-26 federal planning allotments from DPI are not yet available to use. Revisions for actual carryover and allotments will be incorporated in the budget when they are available. Providing summary document, our operating budget includes both the state public school fund, the local current expense fund, and the federal grants fund. You can see on the graph how much we have budgeted in each of these funds, bringing our total operating budget to a little over $867.8 or $9 million. When we examine how money is spent in the operating budget, the majority of the funding clearly supports our employees, compensation, and related benefits shown here in the 25-26 request of $81.7 million. Purchase services such as contracted services, utilities, and insurance account for 8.4%. Supplies and materials are 4.3%. And transfers account for approximately 5.5% of the overall budget. Just a point of emphasis, the transfer dollar amount is so high because that is the portion that we transfer to charter schools. To look at our expenditure budget by purpose and function, 76.5% of the operating budget is slated for direct school expenditures. Support services account for 7%, with transfers to charter schools at 5.4%, and transportation services accounting for 5.7%. You also see the technology accounts for 1.7% of the budget, utilities 2.1%, and maintenance support accounts of 1.7% of the operating budget. In perspective, we could have the highest local teacher supplements if we weren't paying nearly $47.5 million to charter schools, not to mention the money that goes to private school vouchers. Showing a comparison, our total budget recommendation for 25-26 includes $495 million projected in the state fund, the total current expense fund of $318.3 million, the federal fund projection based on our current year allotments and estimated carryover of $54.6 million. The decrease from the prior year in federal funds is obviously directly correlated to ESSER funds expiring in September 30th. The capital fund request is $10.8 million. The new school nutrition fund recommendation is $52.6 million. The after-school enrichment ACES fund recommendation is $6.1 million. The special revenue fund is currently projected to include a budget of $9.8, bringing the total recommended budget to $947.2 million. And you can see the comparison from the prior year. Here again, you can see our next steps in the projected budget process timeline. And tonight you're hearing the superintendent's budget recommendation. On April 8th, you will hold a public hearing as part of your monthly meeting. And on May 15th, the county manager will present the budget recommendation to the Board of County Commissioners. Now we'll turn it back over to Dr. Oakley.
Thank you. So just to briefly close, we've talked about GCS being the best choice for students in Guilford County because of the educational opportunities, the supports, the services we're able to provide. We believe students and families are getting a great return on the investment with what we offer, not some kids, but all kids who come to our schools and our classrooms. We've talked about how investing in our schools and the staff is an investment in the economic growth of our county. Talked about where we are with the 2019 facilities plan and the impact of student enrollment and continued efforts there. The funding we're requesting is proposed to help us accelerate learning, to pay our hardworking staff a living wage, to meet our legislatively mandated requirements, to maintain safety and security, and to sustain our operations. While we've made a lot of progress, we still have a long way to go, and we really need to retain the staff and the instructional tools to keep the work up. So with that, we're happy to answer any questions that you have.
Diane?
On page 11, my question is simply, what can parents and community do to help in this regard, if anything?
Oh, I think on enrollment strategies, all kinds of things. I mean, I think telling great stories about what's happening in schools, people should go visit. Like, just go walk into school and see the good thing, scheduling a tour, telling positive stories. And then when you hear something that might not be true, don't assume it's true. Like, do some fact checking and some fact finding. I think there's a lot of great stories to tell, but sometimes I think social media can take us down rabbit holes that aren't always productive rabbit holes. We're not perfect, but there's a lot of really good things that are happening. So participating in these transition events, I think, is important. Like, it's great when the 8th grade parent goes to the high school to do the tour before the school year ends. We've got high school principals going to 8th grade promotion ceremonies. That kind of like relationship building through feeder patterns and just being an active participant, I think, is the best that they can do.
Are we, in the same vein, have we just kind of, drilled down to how we reach out into the community to make them aware of? I mean, I know we're using the TV station. I know we're using social media.
We have to do all the things. I mean, we heard from a student that we should do more mailers, which I thought was interesting. A high school student said, I can count the number of times my parents have been to the school on one hand. It's not because it's not welcoming. It just is not part of what they do. But if they got something in the mail, they would read it and participate in it and come. So I think you can't back off of one strategy to try another, because different things reach different people at different times. The targeted messaging around enrollment, where we geocached certain communities, like we could target a social media ad to a certain community who was projected to lose the most kids to charter schools, that worked. Like, so turning the narrative and being intentional about how we're communicating with whom, I think, is important, but also just being proximate. So showing up in the community, at churches, at community meetings, and that kind of thing. The human touch, I think, will never be replaced by a Facebook ad.
Can I make a suggestion?
Sure.
I noticed that during last week, the ACC Women's was here, and I think they've been one of the sponsors from throughout, which is Food Lion. And Food Lion is in a lot of our communities. Is there a way for us to perhaps think about some kind of promotional partnership? Not necessarily just at Food Lion. I'm just thinking of Food Lion because there is a presence there that people know in the community, and we had a lot of our kids who went to the ACC who got the T-shirts that have Food Lion on them. So I'm just saying, is it possible for us to look at some kind of, promotion, because they're going to be buying. I mean, they buy food every day for their children, but they buy, particularly before school starts. They're buying the snacks, and so I'm thinking about that as a place. Okay, on page 14, there is I think you probably have gotten that the state legislature is putting a bill forth to fund school psychologists. I think it's like $8 million. It's a new bill that's coming before them. If that passes, would we perhaps be entitled to that, or is that supposed to go to schools who have less than what we have?
I haven't read the bill, but we can take that as a follow-up.
Okay. The next page is just how are we seeking funding? I mean, I see on this page you have these. Do we go after funding? I mean, I know we go after grants as far as, but
yes, we go after funding.
Okay,
Yes.
I just, do we have somebody dedicated to be our watchdog?
It's all
for
of our
funding?
jobs.
Okay. All right, so if I see something, I'm supposed to tell you, right? Okay, this is the page on teach supplements. I just had a why. You said that we were excluded from the 100 million that, okay, why are we excluded?
So the formula was written in a way that it defines Charlotte, it's us, Durham, and Wake, and us, right?
Yep.
As not being low wealth because of our tax base. So it was the hypothesis is that the formula was intentionally written to leave out the largest school districts. And we're advocating for it all the time, including tomorrow. So to be put back in that would be, it would help. We'd still be playing catch up, but it would make a difference.
Okay. Well, I know you don't probably, but have they looked at our census data recently? We're not as high wealth as they may think we are. I mean, or does that matter?
I don't know what they looked at. I just know who was left out.
Okay. All right. On page 30, I think you answered this one, Mr. Beck. The total for both the teacher supplement and this is around 25 million?
Yes, ma'am,
That's what we're asking for?
25.3, yes.
Okay. Oh, excuse me.
Sorry.
0.3. All right. So every penny counts. Okay. And then, okay, I don't see a page on this. But it's the bond progress update. You said that we had consolidated, Dr. Monk, you said we had consolidated five schools?
Yes, 5 into 2.
Okay. How does that impact on transportation, or does it?
So the state didn't issue their transportation efficiency yet for this year. But it's good because we don't have to go to the schools that are in close proximity to one another. So, for example, Wiley and Murphy, and we're all kind of like in that same area. So we know from that standpoint it's good, but we haven't gotten the results yet for this year.
Okay, so the two schools that were consolidated was Faust and Peck for those schools, is that,
Yeah,
am I
so
understanding that?
that's correct. So Archer was consolidated into Faust, and then Wiley, Murphy, and Peck were all consolidated into one school, which is Peck Expeditionary now.
Okay, all right, I'm almost done. On page 41, and this is just a suggestion, when you're saying tell the GCS story, could we get, and I think you alluded to this, but could we get students to tell our story, meaning students to tell their story at their school? I mean, at the State School Board Association, they do a contest where schools participate in a video contest where I think the videos are like less than 2 minutes, but it's all student done, and they tell the story about what's great about their schools. I think it's on the high school level. So I was wondering maybe the students could produce it themselves, if that might be a promotional thing. Okay? And then my last question is for page 44. Do we have a plan B if this is not funded?
We would have to cut something else if we don't receive funding. We would have to do another measure we have to, every time I ask questions, Mr. Beck says, where are we going to pull it from? What are we going to stop doing in order to find the dollars to do that? So that could be anything from increasing class sizes, eliminating programs, reducing some offerings. I mean, $3 million is a significant amount of money, but it's not. There's no grant that's out there yet that would address this whole piece of our request. But the world is a different place now, right? I mean, than it was before we had to include these things in our budget. And so I think talking about how important it is and the realities of it, and when we ask parents what's most important, they talk about great academics and safe schools. And so that's something that we know that we have to figure it out. But the plan B would be cutting something else.
Okay, in making the case for this, not so much publicly, but is there an opportunity to make the case for this by, I guess, security, talking about the things that they've had to do, like statistics on weapon seizures or things like that, that can be said to the county commissioners that here is what this is what this money has brought us as far as safety is concerned, but doing it in such a way that it doesn't violate us giving away what our safety measures are. Do you understand my question?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've invited the opportunity for that conversation to happen.
All right, thank you.
Kim?
Thank you. In regards to page 51, can you go back over, because it says interest earned on investments. Does that mean it goes into our bank account as operating funds, or it has to be designated somewhere?
Right, so that fund of money is our local operating fund too, and so the North Carolina, part of the North Carolina General Statute gives us authority to invest funds within safe, secure measures, and so we do invest money that we receive, whether it's from the county's monthly appropriation or items that we receive that we have in our fund balance. So we invest those wisely and get the maximum return, which then again can make us increase our local operating budget, so we can put that money back in to applying towards educational practices. For
And would that be somewhere in our audit report, how we do that?
No, we actually, well, take that back. If we were in non-compliance, we have to file twice a year an LGC report, and they review our investments. And so part of the audit report actually dovetails to verifying that the LGC reports were filed in the timely manner and there were no discrepancies in the investment manners in which we operated.
In reference to the formula, and you said, is there an opportunity to seek other ways of getting schools funded? Like, is that a discussion that happens? I don't know. In your line of work, does it happen amongst, chief financial officers as recommendations of how to fund schools better so that we are getting everything we need for our schools? Like, is that part of some level of advocacy in your work, or even among superintendents, of changing the formula of how schools are funded in North Carolina?
Well, I think so. The chart of accounts is kind of like what ties us to what we can spend money on, but like innovative ways to fund schools, or innovative ways to get capital dollars, or things that we're investigating one right now that might be out there that might help us be able to get some more from the county. So we're always talking about it, but the guidelines on how we receive funding from those buckets are pretty regulated.
Okay.
But it doesn't mean that there's not an opportunity to try to be innovative about how we do things at the same time.
Okay, thank you.
Deborah?
I just wanted to slide a note into there to say thank you to Dr. Monk and Dr. Oakley for paying attention to those transition points between our schools. Something that I did notice at the middle and the high school level, because my oldest was part of the first to go back to normal transition after COVID, was that the classes ahead of her, especially the class that missed the 5th to 6th transition, and then the class that went for the immediate 9th grade, the first 9th grade transition back into high school, just had an exceedingly difficult time kind of settling in. And to your point, Dr. Oakley, there was a lot of suspension, a lot of I think missed points where we maybe took for granted that they would be able to just set foot back into the system without and sort of reset into a new routine without conflict. And we saw that really was just a huge transition point that maybe wasn't recognized. So thank you guys for working on that. particularly as my oldest gets ready to go to high school next year. So just wanted to drop that note in there.
Thank you, Chrissy.
Thank you so much for all of the detail that goes into this, and I feel like I have a lot of homework to do going through and reading all of this because it's so much information. I do have kind of a hard question. Yeah, all of this is we're asking for more money, and we're asking for more money because we have lots of needs. And I'm going to ask the yucky question. It would obviously be fantastic if we get approved for all of the funding that we're asking for. But if we don't, what kinds of things are on the table as far as budget cuts or programs? I think that's concerns that I hear from the public that I think it might be helpful to address. Yeah, obviously, best case scenario would be we get everything that we're asking for, but life doesn't always go that easily for us.
Right. And the ones that are like legislatively mandated,
Right.
we don't
We have
have a
no
choice.
control.
Right. So, and I think that's why we haven't been able to address this compensation issue. And it's just putting us farther and farther behind. But there's things that we have that we would like, extracurricular offerings, middle school sports, magnet transportation, increases in class size, reducing transportation availability to the fullest extent. Like they're big things that would change how we operate. There's not anything that's easy. You know what I mean? And I think about the district's overall long-term investment in the arts. There's nothing like that we would ever want to see go anywhere. But it is hard, and there's different funding pockets for different things. And so, a compensation increase would need to be recurring. You know what I mean? Like there's things like that too. So it's big system level changes that would impact the daily operations of the school. I think those are some examples.
Absolutely. And then for families and staff who might want to advocate for this funding, can you explain the best places for them to reach out? Should they be reaching out to county commissioners, state level? What's the best thing for them to do if people want to get involved and try to help send funding our way?
Yeah, I think for this compensation, it needs to be both local and state. I think that we are, again, we say we're the number one for business and we're the 38th for teacher pay, and those two things just can't both be true forever. So I think that the compensation has to happen locally and at the state level. And I would just refer back to this presentation. We'll have a public hearing at our next meeting, which would be a good time to show up. And then when the commissioners are voting on their budget and have their public hearing, that would be a good time to show up. And in the meantime, outreach to individual board members and commissioners has always been welcome. We work with them very well, but we know that they're dealing with very limited resources as well.
Great, thank you.
Mm-hmm. All right, I don't see any more questions. Well, Mr. Beck, thank you, and Dr. Oakley, thank you. I'm really excited about the Guilford experiences and the things that you all are doing that's trying to confront and address all of these other things pulling away from public education. So thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we are now at action items. I'll turn to Diane to take us through some policy items. We have item A, policy 1311, 4003, parental notification and withholding consent. We'll vote on these separately.
Okay, good evening. Tonight, we will consider 5 policies that were reviewed by the policy committee and were published for public comment in January. No comments were received on the proposed revisions during the comment period. Members of the public who would like to view the policy revisions may do so after tonight's board meeting agenda, which can be accessed at www.gcsnc.com under Board of Education. I'd like to make a motion that item A, the revision to policy 1311/4003, parental notification, withholding consent as presented.
Thank you. Is there a second? Second. All right. Diane?
Aye.
Chrissy?
Aye.
Linda?
Aye.
Pastor Shiraz?
Aye.
Betty? Yes. Deborah?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
Kim?
Yes.
And Dina, yes. That passes unanimously. Item B?
I'd like to make a motion to adopt the revision of policy 3420, student promotion and accountability as presented.
Is there a second? Second. All right. No discussion? All right. Kim?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
Deborah?
Yes.
Betty? Yes. Pastor Shiraz?
Yes.
Linda?
Yes.
Chrissy?
Yes.
Diane?
Yes.
And Dina, yes. That passes unanimously. Item C?
I'd like to make a motion to adopt the revision to policy 3420, student promotion and, no, wrong one, sorry. I'd like to make a motion to adopt the revision for policy 4023-7233, pregnant and parenting students and employees as presented.
Thank you. Is there a second? Second. Okay. Kim?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
Deborah?
Yes.
Betty? Yes. Pastor Shiraz?
Yes.
Linda?
Yes.
Chrissy?
Yes.
Diane? And Dina, yes. That passes unanimously. Items D?
I'd like to make a motion to adopt the revisions to policy 8305, federal grant administration as presented.
Thank you. Is there a second? Second. Thank you. Kim?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
Deborah?
Yes.
Betty? Yes. Pastor Shiraz?
Yes.
Linda?
Yes.
Chrissy?
Yes.
Diane? And Dina, yes. That passes unanimously. And item E?
I'd like to make a motion to adopt the revisions to policy 9300, naming and renaming of facilities as presented.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
All right. Kim?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
Deborah?
Yes.
Betty? No. Thank you. Pastor Shiraz?
Yes.
Linda?
Yes.
Chrissy?
Yes.
Diane?
Yes.
And Dina, no. So that passes by a vote of 7-2. All right. Well, thank you. We are at other business, board meeting schedule. I'll turn to board member David Coates.
Thank you, Dina. Last month in my 3-minute at the end of the meeting, I mentioned something that really just hit me between the eyes when I was campaigning last fall. And that was when I asked Siri how long it would take me to get to the Stokesdale Town Hall. From my home, it was 31 minutes. It takes about 12 minutes to get from my home to here. When you have meetings that start at 6, that means that people in Stokesdale have a hard time getting here. And Stokesdale isn't alone. We've got a very large county. We've got loads of schools in a variety of places, some of them in rural areas, some of them in more suburban areas, urban areas. And, you know, at the center of everything is Greensboro. Greensboro is about 60% population-wise of the county. But what I noticed in my district, the 3rd district, is that it's more convenient for a lot of people in Greensboro to go to, say, something in Oak Ridge than it would be to come here. So I think really there are several things going on here. One, we have several publics that we're answerable to, the citizenry, people who can vote. But also, really our core constituents are our students and their parents or our caregivers. And to the extent where there are people who would find it very difficult, especially if they're working, to get to a meeting, the public portion of which starts at 6 o'clock. I think that's a problem. And my feeling is that it's going to take a couple of things to address that problem. One, a later starting time. I don't want to start the revolution, that would be 7 or 7:30. So I'm proposing 6:30 as a starting time for the public portion. And that a portion of our meetings occur elsewhere. Now, in a moment, and this will only take us a very short time, I promise. I'm something of a speed reader when need be. I want to go through this resolution. And I've come up with a variety of places where meetings could be held. They're clearly subject to change, okay? I can't claim that's a scientific, allotment. But I think we need to do a better job. I know from talking to people, there are people who feel disconnected from our proceedings. And I think that's too bad. In the audit report at the beginning, it talks about the creation of the Guilford County Schools in 1993, and there were several entities. Now, there's a group that's going to be looking at whether some of the districts in the state are too large. Well, why would they be too large? There are all sorts of efficiencies in large districts. And personally, I think Guilford County Schools does a really good job. Well, I think part of that goes to a feeling of alienation, if you will. I'm not really part of it. I'm on the fringe. And I think we should combat that. We're going to need the public support. And so that's why I'm laying this out. Now, there's no way this is going to get passed tonight, assuming it gets moved and seconded. But I would ask the superintendent the following question. How long would it take you and your administration to determine how to get television coverage, how to arrange for proper security, to find proper locations, and any other administrative detail? I mean, how long would you think that would take?
Having not done this before. I would say months. We would have to visit and meet and look at infrastructure and probably work with other agents. I would think maybe 90 days or so.
Okay.
To just get a starting point of, is that doable at that place? But there could be things I don't know about that could take longer, just in full disclosure, because we haven't done that before.
Sure. And I think, that administrative necessity needs to be honored. So what I'm hoping will happen, I'm going to move this in a minute. It's my intention, if it's moved and seconded and we have some discussion, that make another motion, a superseding motion, to put this on the table to be brought back in 3 months. That would be in the June meeting. Now, that might make it too late to make this change for next year. But I think this is an important change, and I think it's congruent with our duty to our various publics. So I hope that we can have a good discussion, that we can come up with an equitable way to distribute the meetings. And with that, I'm going to take just a minute or two to read this. Whereas the Guilford County school system encompasses a variety of cities and towns, portions of municipalities in more than one county, and a number of unincorporated areas. And whereas Guilford County consists of 657.63 square miles, whereas Guilford County, according to the 2020 census, has a population of 541,299, of which over 60% live in the city of Greensboro. And whereas currently 12 regularly school board meetings, one is held in High Point, 11 in Greensboro, with a public portion of each meeting starting at 6 p.m. And whereas the Board of Education of Guilford County Schools acknowledges the current schedule of regular meetings makes it difficult for many working people in many areas of Guilford County to attend its regular meetings. And whereas the televising of all board meetings has ameliorated this situation by allowing interested citizens to watch the proceedings, but has not corrected the problems of access because televising does not allow for public comment. And where it is beneficial to the Board of Education, as well as Guilford County residents to provide easier access to regularly scheduled board meetings, now therefore, it is resolved in this blank day of blank 2025 that for the 25-26 school year, the Guilford County Board of Education shall start the public portion of its regular meetings at 6:30 p.m. and hold its meetings at schools, city halls, district administration building, or other venues as the superintendent shall determine in the following municipalities. July 2025, High Point, and, August, Greensboro, September, Gibsonville, October, Greensboro, November, Summerfield, December, Greensboro, January, Greensboro, February, High Point, March, Stokesdale, April, Greensboro, May, Greensboro, June, Greensboro. Be it further resolved that the board's policy committee shall study the issue of where regularly scheduled Guilford County School Board meetings should be held and the related issue of at what time the public portion of such meetings shall occur, and make a policy recommendation to the full Board of Education by the November 2025 meeting of the Board of Education, with the goal of holding said meetings in different locations so as to give a better opportunity at least once a year for all interested citizens of the county to attend regularly scheduled meetings, if desired, to make public comments directly to the Board of Education. So, as I said, I'm going to move that. If it's seconded at some point, I'm going to make a motion. I checked Robert's rules on this, so I can make.
You could also just ask the chair to add it in June, and you wouldn't need to make a motion.
I take council's advice. I'm not sure how you want to do it.
You could request that it be placed on the June agenda. You wouldn't need to make a motion on that, based on that resolution.
Well, if there's are you going to withdraw your motion? Because if your motion's there.
I'm moving this.
You're going to withdraw your motion, or you're going to leave it on the table?
Well, I guess what you're saying is just ask the superintendent to do the study, come back, and then at that point, the motion gets made.
There isn't much point in making a motion you're not going to consider when you can just place it on the.
Unless he's asking the staff to go and do that research prior to June and come back in June.
Yeah, you could make the motion to ask the staff to do the research, but you wouldn't table that.
Well, no, I'm just, I'm curious as to the thoughts of the board.
Okay.
I mean, that's the only reason you'd make a motion now, to get some indication of where we're coming from.
All right, so you got a motion. Is there a second?
Can I make an alternate motion?
You can make a substitute motion.
Substitute motion? Because.
Make a substitute motion if it
this
doesn't get a
dies.
second.
If it doesn't get a second, it's going to die.
Okay, so there's no second.
Is there?
She's not seconding it, so it dies for lack of a second.
Yep.
Deborah, and then Linda, and then Diane.
Linda can go ahead, I'm processing.
Here's my issue with that thought process. How much earlier? You're going to be talking setups, about 5 different setups at 5 different locations. And Pleasant Garden wasn't added in here, or Jamestown, okay? So, then if you add those 2 in, you're looking at 8 different setups, maybe. I didn't count how many different places we have. Then you have to worry about how many, so now you've got different setups. That means the people that set up this room have to go somewhere different, 8 different locations, set up a whole different scenario. Remember what is different with each location. And they probably have to get there much earlier than we do to just make sure because now you're talking double checks on everything, because it's a whole different scenario. No place is going to be the same. High Point, and for me also, so that's a lot of burden. And I would like to know the cost. There's going to be additional costs to doing that because, one facility may not have this ability and one facility doesn't have that ability. So now how do we get that ability? And just trying to figure out every time if you're changing 8, you change it, having 8 locations to try and set up. And then for me, I don't like driving in the dark to places I'm not familiar with. I am getting to where driving in the dark is a challenge for me. So, I've got 2 places to figure out how to get to right now, High Point and here. I'm going to the eye doctor on the 18th, okay, because it is getting challenging for me to, hopefully they can do something. But I'm not comfortable going to 1 week going to Summerfield, 1 week going to Gibsonville, 1 week going to, I don't know, and I'm not familiar with, and I am not good, have no sense of direction. I'm just going to let you know. Thank God for GPS. So I just think it's going to be, I think there's cost. I think the continued different setup scenarios it's going to get messed up. Someone's not going to get it right. And I just think it's a lot of, and we need to include Jamestown, and we need to include Pleasant.
Oh, sure.
So now you're not talking 5, and that's a lot of burden to put on our staff. And I think the public has opportunities to communicate with us if they choose to communicate with us. I don't see when there's an issue, we see Paige here. When there's an issue, they show up. What you don't see, and what I know, when things are going good, people don't show up. So when you're going to get people to show up, which is the normal way of things, there's nothing unusual about this. But if life is good, there's nothing happening, which is good, boring is good, quiet is good, okay? But when they show up in stride is when something is not going as well as we care. And they're going to show up in Summerfield, they're going to show up right here just as much as they will show up anywhere else. So that's my viewpoint, and I'll leave it at that.
Thank you, Diane, Alan, then Deborah.
Yeah.
Okay, first, I think we might want to check and see if our meeting schedule and how we decide that falls under policy or if it falls under our bylaws.
Right.
Okay, so that's 1. 2 is, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I did not. I did in 2016. I had a mandate from the constituents that put me in office to bring the meetings to High Point. And that was 2016. We didn't do it until 2018. So, Madam Superintendent, it took, over a year, for almost 2 years for us to finally get there. Because there were a lot of, as Ms. Wellborn has said, there's a lot of logistics that we had to meet. I support us having accessibility to other parts of the county, but what I would also suggest is that we look at other opportunities for us to have accessibilities in other parts of the county, whether it be a town hall meeting or whether, I think our superintendent has done a very good job of being conscious of trying to have different events in different locations in the county. She's been very cognizant about having things in High Point. because High Point is the second biggest of our schools, and I think if I'm not mistaken, it's like 40% of our funding goes towards High Point schools. Am I right?
I think it's less, but I would have to check on
But
that.
somewhere
Yeah.
30, but it's a larger chunk. So I think trying to host things, like we're having the thing this coming Saturday at Jamestown. You know, there's nothing to keep us from hosting, I assume, that in other parts of the county. It's just a matter of, I think, looking at it and seeing. So I think that to put some type of feasibility on a request on a meeting just to see what is out there and what is available and what will be the challenges would be a fair, respectable thing to do, not for Mr. Coates, but for the constituents that do live, in the northern parts of the county, whether you're talking about northeast, because I have yet to go to any event that I can think of further than Eastern. I haven't been. I've been out to Eastern, and I've been out to Gibsonville Elementary, Sedalia. Okay, but that's as far that way that I've been to events that we hosted. So, I think that there's a way to meet some of the needs, because as Ms. Wellman said, if folks are mad, they'll come here or they'll email us. We'll know about them as far as that's concerned. But just to say that we hear what your request is, but I do know that when I sat in this chair the very first time and asked to go to High Point, I was told it wasn't going to happen, but it did. And I think the people in High Point appreciated the fact that we did, and I've heard less complaints about them having to come here, because we have made efforts not just to have board meeting there, but other activities that have been very visible. And we've done stuff in Jamestown. Because we've done things at Ragsdale, as well as, and then we had the graduations for both Haynes Inman and for Christine Joyner in Jamestown. We did not bring them, here. And we used to have some of our graduations at GTCC. So there are opportunities. That's all I want to say, so that it's not that it's, being totally dismissed.
Thank you. Alan and then Deborah.
Thank you. Briefly, I'll just say, I think we all share a concern and a prioritization of transparency, access, and representation of the breadth of our county. And I think those that came before us on this board did as well. And amidst the imperfect option, I feel that we actually have the option currently that gives us the best chance to be most accessible by locating meetings here, utilizing the tools, the infrastructure, the staff that we have here in this place. And that is why my agreement with you ends at the concern for accessibility.
Thank you. Deborah? Okay. And I wanted to say, too, we were meeting in High Point. My first board meeting in 2002, very contentious board meeting. I didn't know, I was like a deer in headlights. People were very upset. It was redistricting in 2002. It was in High Point at the former Scale site. And so we tried. And I think the reason, I don't know if the new city council chambers were constructed then, so that's why it took so long. Well, they definitely weren't in 2002, but I don't even think they were when you were requesting that we be there. So we were trying,
Well,
I remember doing one at Penn Griffin. We couldn't get the audio right, and it's just not that easy. And that's why the infrastructure here, we have our technicians and our, the people that run things. Our staff can leave and go home. Some of them commute to Charlotte, some to Raleigh, some to Durham. And just think tonight, if we were in Gibsonville or someplace else when they do. I think the continuity, I watched county commissioner meetings online on YouTube. I watch city council meetings. I try to go when I can. And it's so important to know where they are. I have been late for our meetings because I came here and I was like, oh, we're in High Point tonight? Because I have, or I've gone to High Point. It's like, no, it's in Greensboro. We've all done that. And I think for people, I think the continuity is is more important to people than going all over. If we were going to be in Gibsonville for a year, you know, and then next year we were going to be in Stokesdale, that would be fine. But to bounce around logistically, I think would be a nightmare for people trying to figure out where are we. Even looking it up online takes so much time. People's lives are so busy. I appreciate Pastor Sherrouse's recommendation, and the board supported that, to even have closed session at 5:30, because people can come here, they can speak at public comments, and then they can go home and they can do homework and they can feed children and they can, you know, they can still watch the meeting, but they'll be in time to do that. So we used to be here until 1 and 2 o'clock in the morning. And the meetings have gotten a lot more efficient, and we are constantly trying to think how to tweak it, and we've gotten more infrastructure, more technology, and more opportunities for that kind of access. So I again think that the consistency, people know where it is. It's central in this huge county. This is a central location. And I appreciate, you know, the times that we're able to go to High Point. I know that it was still a challenge because of the audiovisual equipment, you know, for our former superintendent and for other people. And so we have the things here that can meet certain accommodations. So there's just, it's just not that simple. We've also had town halls. We've done superintendent searches in Northwest and Southeast and Northeast and High Point. We've had, we used to have graduations at high schools. Y'all remember that? We used to have graduations at high schools. Some of the high schools, we had graduations, and we centralized that. So the Coliseum, so things flow. And so I just want to say that it's not like we hadn't done some things before, but we learned a lot from that. And this makes sense.
If I may. One, I think the difficulty is being greatly exaggerated. You know, I worked in a district that for many years, district 1/10 the size of this district, that moved their meetings every month, and there was never a problem. You know, they just gathered the stuff up, they moved it. You know, you need to know where you're moving, okay? But I do think we have a bit of a problem with people on the fringes sometimes feeling alienated. The neighbors talk about a private school or a charter school, and it sounds pretty good, you know. We're a long ways away. And, you know, I remember when I was a kid reading Voltaire's Candide, you know, and he keeps wandering around saying, this is the best of all possible worlds. Well, this might be, but somehow I doubt it. I hope people will think about this, you know, and maybe at least move back the time. I think this is very unfriendly to working people to have a meeting that starts at 6. I'm hearing what you're saying. You can get here, you can get home, you know, get on with your stuff. So there's some virtue in that. But anyway, I wanted to get it out there, you know, because I'm hearing this from people, and I think part of my job is to represent the people that, you know, I represent. So that's it.
Thank you. Diane?
Is it possible, I don't want to tax your staff anymore, but just to kind of look at, you know, some of the possibilities, regardless of whether, just so that we have an answer as far as, or is that too much?
It's a lot. I mean, it's an ask. We would have to not do something else if we were gonna, yeah.
Okay. Alan?
Well, I would just say I would not at all favor using staff time for that, particularly on a motion that did not have a second.
Thank you.
I was just trying to be, you know, we got to work together, that's all. And we do at least want the constituents, and probably his constituents are watching us, to know that we've made some effort to hear what his request was.
And for many of us, it wasn't the first. We've had lengthy conversations with Mr. Coates and with each other and so we've, talked it through. I hear you. All right, board member comments. David, since you have the floor.
Well, I don't know.
Where's the timer?
Are you right?
It's fine. I was totally teasing. It's okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
I was teasing.
Well, anyway, I've probably said as much as I probably ought to tonight. I noticed that we got submission from Moms for Liberty, quoting a whole bunch of administration lawyers. And the thing I would point out, that's just lawyers' opinions, not anything binding. And, I think we had several speakers tonight talk about history. And I think the study of history is very important. And if you look at things directly, we have some history that needs to be, the effects of which really ought to be undone. And I think our policies and our approach to DEI is appropriate. And again, what was cited was just some attorney's opinion. I value attorneys' opinions. I listen to Ms. Wilson. If she says something, I'm all ears. But that's all it is. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Kim?
I just want to say that, I like for our meetings to definitely be shorter. And whatever we can do actually to streamline our meetings, because we are here to take care of the business of children, and we must make sure that they are the center of the why that we are here. So whatever we can do to make our meetings shorter, actually, so the staff can go home and so we can go home, I think that would make us even more efficient. I do know that people do have access to us because we receive emails when things are good and bad and all the things. So I'm just hoping, Board Chair, you would consider figuring out a way to streamline our meeting agenda for us. That's what I'm looking for, no matter where it's held. Try to streamline our meeting. That would help. But in honor of Women's History Month, I want to say that I supported a local author by the name of Tonisha Frisbee, who is also a parent at Southwest Elementary. And one of the books is Precious Melanated Girls and Their Pets, and it's a coloring book that I was able to purchase for my granddaughter. And one other book is God Said, Daily Spiritual Affirmations for Kids. So I just want to celebrate this young author, this young mom, Tanisha Amos Frisbee, tonight. So thank you.
Thank you. Diane?
I just want to ask the public, whomever, to just start paying attention to the fact that the dismantling of the U.S. Department of Education is looming, and we need to be advocates for public education, because that's, it potentially will hurt public education more than anybody else. Next, I want to just kind of give us a brief history lesson about the naming of schools. Dudley High School was named and built in 1929. Bluford, which was named for the third president of A&T, was built in 1959. Washington, which is actually named for Booker T. Washington, has existed since 1915. Peeler was built in 1953, and Hampton was built in 1964. Harrison and Faulkner came in the 21st century. My point of this is that all of the schools, except for Hampton and Faulkner, were built in a time of desegregation. But the people it was named for were significant in our communities. Peeler was a pastor and 5th president of Bennett College, and Hampton was a physician and first city council person. These were named at times when there was probably no representation like what you see on this board now when these decisions were made. These names have been hallmarks in the Southeast community, which still is predominantly African American or people of color. I think to not name the Visual and Performing Arts School and honor the heritage and history of Peeler and Hampton would peel away from those schools that were named in this particular part of our city when we did not have a voice. So I feel it's important that we look at the history behind that. There are some compromises that can be given as far as opportunities within the building to name the dance studio for someone in the performing arts, or the chorus room for somebody in music, or the band room, those kinds of things. But I think that we need to keep the anchor of these buildings, because these were named when we didn't have the kind of voice that we have now to name. And I'll just bring one other school up, and I don't know if you were on the board then or not, but there was a lot of dissension about naming Ron McNair. I mean, it was the H word, is dissension. And it was important to put that name on the school too. So I want us to consider that when we consider what we name these schools and why it's important in this particular community to maintain these names that have been there historically since 1953 and 1964. And I know I went over, sorry.
That's a good thank you. Chrissy?
Thank you. I just want to say that I would support a later start time for meetings. I think I may be in very much the minority, but I do work full-time. Fortunately, I'm lucky and I work from home and I have a fair amount of flexibility, but sometimes getting here at 5:30, like today, Wendover was a mess and it took me 45 minutes to get here. I heard you say 12 minutes from your house and I just kind of cringed because, you know, I'm in almost downtown High Point and it takes a lot longer for me. So personally, I would support it, but that said, you know, it's one day a month and I can make it work one day a month. The only other thing I wanted to say was I wanted to say a big thank you to the Guilford delegation, the legislators that we work with, Ms. Jenkins and Ms. Hayes and Dr. Oakley and I had the opportunity, was that just last week? I think it might have been 2 weeks, to do a presentation for them about the state of Guilford County schools and our budget asks and our legislative agenda. It was very well received. I thought it was a fantastic presentation. I know I texted Dr. Oakley afterwards and said, like, you were just a rock star. And it was so wonderful to hear just all of the good things that were happening. And it's been very exciting to see in the past couple of days some fruits of our labor from that meeting that we just had, where bills are being drafted and brought to the Senate and the House about some of those things that we specifically asked for. Of course, a bill being drafted doesn't mean that it's going to come to fruition. We all know that. But, you know, it's really nice to know that we are being heard by that delegation. They're hearing our concerns. They're taking them seriously. It's very much, and this is really important to me because, you know, I've said it before, I hate the mix of politics and education. This is absolutely a bipartisan approach. You know, we've got members from both parties who are supporting these bills and putting them forward. And so, I just want to say thank you to them for the support. And again, a reminder to teachers, staff, parents, families, anybody, concerned citizens and community members to reach out to those legislators and let them know the things that you support, the things you don't support. There are a lot of things happening relating to public schools in the legislature right now. So, thank you.
Thank you, Linda.
I'm going to be real short and sweet. What I want to say is I appreciate all the work that went into the audit and all the great presentation and the work that's gone into the budget, because there was a lot of people pulling some probably long hours trying to pull all that together. So I just want to say we appreciate it. And there again, I understand, wanting to reach out there, but I just don't think it would be. So I don't want you to think I don't understand your want, okay? I just don't think logistically it would pan out as so. But anyway, I appreciate it. Appreciate everybody that continues to do a great job for Guilford County Schools.
Thank you. Pastor Shiraz?
I appreciate Board Member Bellamy Small bringing up our concerns over the Department of Education and this administration's promise to dismantle it, and even the news within the last couple of hours while we have been meeting that half of the jobs in the Federal Department of Education have been eliminated as of today. And I know that we feel the weight of that, and that our staff feel the weight of that, our teachers, and at some level, even in ways they might not express, our students feel that, our families feel that. And so I think it is also very important for us to claim amidst that whom we are. So often what we do in education is compensating for failures at higher levels of leadership. And we do that here in this room, and we certainly know that happens in classrooms every day. And so I want to lift up what I also heard in this room tonight, which is the incredible support of our community at so many different levels. I'm frequently asked the question or given the comment when people learn that I'm on a board of education, whether they know our community or not, and, oh my goodness, that must be wild. And the truth is, in Guilford County, it is sane, it is reasonable, it is helpful, it is collaborative, and we experience that each and every meeting we did here tonight. I think we heard it even amidst concerns. I appreciated Paige's turnout again tonight and their response to the concerns, but also the acknowledgement that the solutions are collaborative, that the problems are not just at Paige, but are at other campuses too, advocating for other schools right along with theirs, and also claiming a sense of corporate responsibility. We heard again from so many who support the teaching of honest and truthful history, the continued promotion of diversity and equity and inclusion and advocacy for all of our students. And so as we do this hard work, and as you, staff and teachers, do this hard work, you do it from this place and in this community, and let's draw strength from that.
Thank you, Betty. Thank you. I'm not going to repeat what my colleagues have already stated. I would say thank you to Ebony Burnett, who invited me to the Shift Ed retreat. We had a gorgeous time there and learned a lot, made some connections, and definitely some partnerships for our school. I visited High Point Central this week and was very, very welcoming. I did social work month already. Miss Lewis at Jefferson Elementary, I thank her and her fourth grade students for inviting me over to read. A program called An Attitude of Gratitude. I would like to thank Katina and her group for supporting one of my schools, which is Faulkner, and their needs for this year and also next year. City Help of the Triad had a program last weekend, and they invited a lot of young men, middle school and high school students of Guilford County School, some were from Thomasville and some from Durham. They had a awesome time, and they learned a lot, mentorship, mental health, advocacy, and things like that were the things that they went over. I'd like to thank all the organizations that support Gifford County Schools. Like to thank the staff, and also continue to tell your why about Gifford County School, because you are the selling point and the cheapest selling point. All you have to do is tell your why. The reason why I voted no for the naming committee, because of the fact we had talked earlier last year about the school being named after the theme, and it is visual and performing arts. So my vote would be for Harris Mintz Dance Company, because it is visual performing arts. And I feel that in that policy, it states you have to be dead, okay? Of course, they're not dead, okay? And so there's a gray line there, whether it's the person or the organization. So since there's a gray area there, and I spoke to 4 different attorneys, including Jill, and so since it's a gray area there, that's why I voted no for the policy. Thank you.
Thank you. Deborah?
It's okay, Jill. Okay, first off, I would like to thank everybody that came this evening, especially when it comes to our budget talks. I see Guilford County Association of Educators here. I saw Public School Strong earlier. I would like to thank Paige for coming and continuing to put a face on the struggles that's in our schools and acknowledging that they're not the only high school with problems. I think that was very big of them, considering the fact that there are a lot of problems at Paige. To that end, I'd also like to thank Leah Edwards for being here for Northwest and for the entire Grimsley football team. And I have an ask of all of you, and that is to continue to show up and show out. Because I think we saw in the budget that Guilford County Schools actually gets their money from all other places. I tell people fairly frequently that we're the richest beggars on the planet because we have no control over our own purse strings. So please, please come to the Board of County Commissioners meetings. Put the same faces out that you put here, because it obviously makes an impact, because everyone here, I think, mentioned in some element or another something about budget needs, all the things, Paige in particular. So it makes an impact. It is very real when you get up and when you speak. We're going to work on that. And so please continue to do that initially here with the Board of County Commissioners. Let them hear you. And I agree with Chrissy entirely that we also need to take this up to the state level, because the state, very much like us here, they're the first to hear the worst. We need to continue to bring them our message that there is need, but also, especially when our students show up, it grabs. It really does. It makes an impact. So, and students to being involved in this process is also just huge. To bring students to see what happens at all the legislative levels, local, state, whole 9 yards, is impactful for them for the future. And this is the reality of how you bring in voters at a young age. Whatever you vote for is to let them see the process work and bring them here and let them speak and see that we're also humans and that we can be touched. And the final thing that I will say is, Women's History Month, last month at Claxton, we had Shero's morning breakfast. And let me tell you what, the ladies packed the building. It was out the front door. It was fabulous. Men, the challenge is on for you next week as we do Heroes Breakfast. And just the involvement of parents in our schools is another thing that I think is very, very impactful. And I love to see get it while you can, because let me tell you what, like I said, the oldest is getting ready to go high school next year. And I already got, we're doing a field trip here in a little bit, but I don't want any of you guys to be chaperones. So take it while you got it. Show up to your schools, show up to your meetings. We love to see you guys, and you do change things when you speak to us, and we appreciate you all being here. And good work, board members, tonight for taking that in and acknowledging everybody who came. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Deborah. I would just like to give a shout out to Peck Elementary School. I went to the Black History Month Wax Museum event again this year, and it was just incredible. They're hilarious. I mean, just so well done. And the school itself was just magnificent. So the PTA, I was able to renew my membership. No, they didn't wax me this year. They did one year, which was hilarious. But anyway, I love it and thank them for inviting me. I also want to say something about Senate Bill 227, which is the anti-DEI bill. And I know it's been weaponized and politicized so much that people don't even know what it means, but who in the world would want to ban diversity, equity, and inclusion? And here's just something that is in the bill itself. It says, a divisive concept that you can't teach this, that one race is superior to another to say that the United States was created by members of a particular race for the purpose of oppressing members of another race. And so I looked some of this information up because I just know that that's true. That happened. It says historical truth matters. The history of the United States includes well-documented legal barriers to citizenship and civil rights based on race. And here's some examples. The Naturalization Act in 1790, so this is the first Congress of the United States that we're seating, and in the second session, their first act was a Naturalization Act, which restricted U.S. citizenship to any alien being a free white person. This explicitly excluded Native Americans, Africans, and Asians from naturalization. The Naturalization Act of 1870 in the United States, which extended naturalization only to aliens of African nativity. You can be a citizen, but you have no rights then. And persons of African descent, explicitly keeping Asian immigrants ineligible for citizenship. The Chinese Exclusion Act of 1882, which barred Chinese immigrants from naturalization entirely. And the Supreme Court rulings that confirmed only white persons and later persons of African descent could become U.S. citizens, further demonstrating that the legal system reinforced racial hierarchy. So why are we saying it's divisive if it was created by the United States government and it's well documented by the United States government and legal scholars? So what we're saying is it's true, but you can't teach it. We were in court recently, me and Chrissy and Linda and Pastor Sherrouse, and I'm looking around the courthouse, which was established in 1918 and 1920 when black people couldn't represent people there. So I'm looking around the room, Jill, and all of the pictures in the courthouse are all white. I don't know if you all noticed that, but I'm sitting there saying, what meaning would I make of that if I'm coming into the courthouse? It wasn't until the Brown versus Board of Education decision that black judges and black lawyers were able to represent cases of racial discrimination, including one that Greensboro City Schools had in the courts. So to say that the truth of the United States history is divisive and we shouldn't teach it is just dishonest and untrue. And I learned a lot about DEI tonight from Sophie Wilkerson and Jack Kelly, our two speakers from Page High School, that talked about what it was like to have assisted devices and to be differently abled and to not be accommodated at the school. So I just hope you oppose this bill, and there's a petition out that I authored. I hope you sign it. So with that said, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second, all those in favor say aye.